where it stops, no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. I know I feel like it's been a really long week and it's only the second day. Hi Laura, hi Phoebe, what's up Ko? Hi True Crime Fangirl, Teresa. Hi Bartman. Hi Mila's mom. Hi Mrs. Smith. Johnny. Post-punk mama. Hi Hunting Evil. I know you've messaged me and I owe you. I honestly have to sit down and read it. I'm just like, my life doesn't allow time to enjoy things like that. Like yesterday, I read all those motions for the first time sitting with you guys. Hi Unindicted. What's up, Just Deb, Tibri, Elena. Hi Kel. Hi AH, Mace Mama, sweet dude. These free ballers, so bad. Free balling. Tony, what do vegetarian zombies eat? Grains. Oh, that's so silly. Hi J.O. Hi Percocent. Oh, I can't stop laughing. Princess Megan Elsa. Hi Sleuths Investigate. Snappy Dragon. Hello Spring. Jojo. Missing Unsolved Crime. What's up, Rod? Hi Kaleido Hope. What's up, Tony? Journey Takes a Trip. Diamond Eyes. KT Recovers. Hi Four Pipples. Those damn rabbits. Hi Strictly Chaos. Hi Unsolved. Hi. Oh, I already saw it. Scott, did I say hi to you? I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know if I didn't. If I did, I did. And if I didn't, then hi. Inspector Gadget. Hi Shaz. What's up, Tony? All right, let me see. Let me go back down here. Hi Christy. Hi Kimberly. Jiu-Jitsu. Sweet Melissa. Diamond Eyes. I think I said hi to you too. Now I see I'm just starting to repeat. What's up, Radar? Hey Jen. Princess Buttercup. So I got a Princess Megan Elsa and a Princess Buttercup. I am in the midst of royalty. IMB JCM. That's Hip Hop. Karen. Carla. Today's only Tuesday. I know, right? That's how I feel. That's where I'm at with it. I'm like, this sucks. Has to start only Tuesday. Anyway, so hi Holy Schnakies. Hi Idaho Charlie. ETS. What's up, Jen? So yesterday I was telling you guys that the roofers are here. Oh gosh. So yesterday they started over here when we were live, right? And then they worked their way to that side of the house. So I was like, okay, I'll go live in the afternoon because they'll come and they'll start over here and then they'll go to that side of the house, right? Like they'll work in the same pattern. They didn't do that. They started over there and now they're over here. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. So I was hoping they were going to be like almost done. So no, there's no dead body in my washing machine like Steve implied yesterday, but if they don't simmer down on the roof, we'll see what's going to happen. Come over to my place. It's Wednesday here. Oh man, it's already Wednesday. So I have been going through as much of the information from yesterday's hearing and from a couple of the ladies who were nice enough to send me notes that were in the hearing, and then going over and listening to a few different people's lives on what actually happened in there, so on and so forth. So I've been trying to compile some different information. There are a couple of things I'm going to be very clear that I need to clarify, because it seems that the way that it was interpreted by different people there is different. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. So it's kind of interesting, and this is why there should have been cameras in the courtroom. Then we would sit here, we'd listen to it, we'd hear it for ourselves, and we'd know. And now you know that there's, 9 hours of them sitting there, and it's hard that they're gonna miss stuff. So some might miss something, others might catch it, and that's just, it's human nature. So I don't know. So there's a couple big things that I need to kind of iron out on what it is, because I don't want to put, there may be a tad bit of unintentional misinformation. It would have, if it was just televised, none of this would even be an issue. But now, and not even just televised, we don't even have like any journalists or anybody that were able to sit in the courtroom and like live tweet as things were going on. So now we're just counting on people sitting in the gallery going, okay, let's go over your notes. I think that it'll be interesting, because I know Bob plans on going live tonight to go over his notes. So I don't know, maybe I'll use him as like the toss-up. Like if he thinks it was what this person said, then I'll go with that. And if he thinks it's what this person said, then I'll go with that. I don't know. It's tough because they're not all repeating exactly the same thing. But we're gonna go over it. We're going to go over what we know and try to piece it together. The other thing is that she did put the orders out today. She did put the orders out today. Let me see. That she had ruled on yesterday at the beginning. So I was also wondering, which I had not had a chance to look, I was wondering if what's outstanding still. I think like with Franks, the third Franks that's still outstanding, but I haven't gone through to actually see exactly what there is. And then the defense had a reply today from the motion from Nick McClelland, so they have their reply, so we're going to go over that. That's kind of what's on our agenda, and then we can just, like, I don't know, try to figure out our lives at this point. It seems that from everybody I'm hearing that the trial is going to stay in May. Apparently she told them yesterday, like, she's already sent out like the jury surveys or the juror surveys, and she's not changing it. So like they should be prepared to go to trial on May 13th. That's kind of where I'm at with that, unless something bigger arises. Hold on, just getting. Oh my gosh, the prosecutor's podcast is going live with Murder Sheet. Oh, that's just fun. Okay. Anyway, so hi to everybody that's just popped in, and welcome. And we're just going to go through it. Let's see. It's the court's duty to send out because the jurors are coming from Allen County. So do you think the judge will dismiss the case? Well, 13-1's KW10, like, that's just crazy. Thank you. And no, I do not think she'll dismiss the case. I don't. I think that there's going to have to be some caveats in place on what they're going to do with all this missing stuff. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't think she's going to dismiss it. Shirt thinking son. This is my tie-dye. I'll pop up if I hear something inaccurate. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Trial definitely seems to be going forward. Big concern is that the contempt ruling will be coming out less than 2 weeks before trial starts. Right. Yeah. So we talked about that a little bit yesterday too. So Fiend was actually in the courtroom yesterday, so it'll be helpful. And I don't know if anybody else is in here that you guys were in the courtroom, please feel free to chime in with what you guys heard when we start going through things. Now, do we know if Judge Gold allows outside parties to purchase hearing transcripts from the court reporter? Catherine, you're kind of funny. She won't even give the court transcripts to the actual attorneys. No, I would say that she probably doesn't. That's just my thought. I don't think we can request the transcript until maybe after trial that she might, but I mean, that shit yesterday, that's 9 hours, 9 hours of transcript. That's going to be a hefty bill. Or depending on what goal lets in keeps out of trial, the battle could be largely won or lost right there. Case closed with CJ. That is such an accurate statement. When we go over like things that happened yesterday, and we went over like the filings when we were live, essentially the other thing is not even what's left out. If she isn't going to continue funding, then are Baldwin and Rosie going to pay for these experts out of pocket? Are they going to get partially reimbursed, or are they going to go with lower costing experts in order to fulfill what they need to? If the contempt sends either of the lawyers to jail, the trial timeline has to be told so as to not prejudice RA. Right. I think that I think she's probably just going to fine them. I really do. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I think she'll probably just fine them. And if she puts them in jail, I mean, I don't, 2 weeks, I don't know. That would be kind of crazy. You can go to jail for 2 weeks for, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess she does crazy shit all the time. So first things first, before we get to this, I'm going to play Barbara McDonald. So I don't know how many of you guys were watching Bob yesterday. So he came on right after he got out of court, or essentially pretty much when he got out of court. And he hadn't eaten and he was kind of grouchy. And so everybody was like sending him money to feed him. And then he realized he was supposed to go on Court TV. Well, he kept calling it News Nation. And I was like, no, Bob, it's Court TV. So they put him on Court TV, and it's about the Madeline Soto case. And I'm like, what? Why are you not like, what do you do? Like, he's starving. He spent like 10 hours plus whatever he spent in line. And he goes on and talks about a case that he wasn't even, he didn't even spend the court. I mean, he was just in the courtroom for a whole other case. I was like, all right. So but they had Barbara McDonald come on. And so she talks a little bit about the hearing. And since she was in there, I was like, we'll pay attention to that too. Poor hungry Bob. I know. He's just like, and then people are like making comments in chat. And he's like, leave me alone. I'm not in the mood. So, but I know he's going to go. He said he's going to go live tonight to go through more of it. But I figure maybe all playing this, it'll help with maybe they'll hurry up and be done. So we're going to go through this too. So we'll just go through what she has to say. And then, like I said, we're going to go through the notes that I was sent from a couple of the nice people who were in the courtroom. And then we can go from there. Now, hopefully, tell me if you guys.
This case is huge, and everyone's talking about it, have been talking about it for years. You got some.
Oh, you saw a TV clip that he was on about Delphi? Okay. Hey, sure has. Hi, C-Dub. Hey, Giselle. Hey, Veronica. I met Baldwin and Rose. I bet Baldwin and Rosie had someone in there taking their own transcript. I do think that they're going to end up with people who definitely were probably taking notes. Or, transcribed from us. Okay. Dang it. Hold on. Hey, True Crime Web. I was just talking about you. I don't have a dead body in my dryer today, even though it sounds like it. Interviews may be erased. People interviewed are available. I can see the defense requesting time to re-interview. I think the hardship is going to be that their stories now would be adjusted based on all the information that's come out, and that they could have interviewed and would have interviewed if they had known that these particular interviews were deleted. So I kind of go back and forth. If back in October, or even by December, when they were getting the first info, or first discovery from the prosecutor, wouldn't it have made sense to be like, hey, FYI, we've known for 6 years we don't have these interviews? So I think that might come into play. That's just my opinion. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to play this first. Oh, Barbara, who leaked to you? Well, It is stated in the hearing yesterday that Holman was giving her information. That's what the defense believed. But we're going to go through those notes. So let's go through this first.
YouTubers getting into a scuffle in the courtroom or courthouse?
This is like all the news. The Carroll County Comment also did, I think because they're still online apparently, which I thought they were gone, but I have an article from them for yesterday. But everybody's like talking about the scuffle and how these people got kicked out. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
Yeah, apparently one of those YouTubers was going to be one of the defense witnesses in the motion to, or rather the contempt hearing today, to talk about the leak of information from people other than the defense. But during the lunch break, there was some sort of scuffle between at least two YouTubers, perhaps one or two other people. The police immediately got involved and moved them out of the courthouse and said, "You are not coming back in." In fact, I saw them being escorted off the entire courthouse property. And so I don't know how much that changed that hearing and what David Hennessy was planning to do. He did call some other YouTubers and people who are online commenters on the case, but we didn't hear a lot of testimony from them because there were so many objections and the judge sided with the prosecution on those issues.
Yeah. So
okay. So
let's
since they're addressing it, we'll go ahead and talk about this part first too. We know that, so there was like a whole list of people that from social media and YouTube and whatnot that were called as witnesses by the defense or were potential witnesses. We know that two, well, it was supposed to be three, but Rixnay got kicked out, so it is what it is. And so Julie went up there, and Julie her testimony was essentially going to be on the conversation she had with Terry Williams. And if you remember when we went through that, it was like Terry Williams had said that she was riding around in a car. She was driving, I should say, and Holman was in the passenger seat, and she was having him look at a conversation she'd had on her phone. And while they were riding around town, which is so weird to me, that he was telling her about the crime scene and the fact that there was no assault. And I think I showed you guys those photos, but I can bring them up really quick again. So that's what Julie's testimony was supposed to be on. The problem ended up being because McClellan ended up objecting over and over again to the testimony. And then Judge Gold finally just asked the defense team, hey, is Terry Williams here? And the defense said, no, she's not. And so she was like, no, we're not going to go down that road then because Terry Williams isn't here. From my understanding, it seemed like Terry Williams was supposed to be there, so I'm not sure why she wasn't. Hold on. Every pound on the roof is a second closer to having it done before it rains again. It's true. I'm laughing. I imagine the dead body in the dryer. It's like, dun, 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 dun. I remember when Terry was in Facebook groups bragging about the ride with Holman way back. Yeah, so she was there to testify about that. And I know that people are, like this was all pointless and this was that, and the other. I think the point was to show that these quote unquote leaks have been going on for a long time. Now, I would still argue on the side of there was no gag order on discovery and there was no gag order or protective order on discovery. So essentially, these leaks aren't going to be anything that have to do with contempt unless they have some type of conversation after one of those was put in. After one of those was put in place. Now, when Skip takes the stand, that's a little bit different. So he's talking about his conversations with Fig, which they allowed a lot of that in apparently. Even though McClellan was objecting to some of those things, they allowed that in, essentially saying like that Fig was telling Skip in these messages that he was getting information by a person who worked in Gold's office and by McClellan himself. Well, I don't know if they showed any dates or times to that, and if it was before or after a gag order was in place. And that's going to be really what it comes down to. Now, once again, it's about what McClellan did, because McClellan would be the only one under a gag order. It's not about Fig. Unless McClelland wasn't telling Fig anything, and then Fig's just out there telling the world that he's getting leaks from McClelland. I don't know. That would be that's a whole nother ball game that I don't even want to partake in. My only concern is whether Nick McClelland is actually giving out information to people on social media. But McClelland's biggest objection to any of that was, like, that's not what we're here for. Like, the contempt hearing is for the defense team. It's not for the prosecutor. What does that mean in the future of them going and actually filing something against McClelland? I don't know. I think it's something that they may hold in their back pocket and see what they're going to do. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what'll come of it. But that was the objections on, like, hey, we're not actually here to, the defendant in this case, which is weird because it's actually Rick Allen, because we all know it's filed incorrectly, but whatever. I don't think that was ever even discussed. That, we're not here to hold Nick McClelland in contempt. So, I don't know. Vinny Space is always hilarious. Ariel, yes, I am familiar with Karen Reed's case. I do want to start getting into it. I just want Delphi to calm the fudge down for a hot minute so then we can go back and read through some of the most important pieces that are going to take us to trial on that. There isn't time for this nonsense. The defense needs to get booted and suited for trial. Don't say booted, Catherine, because that people are going to be like, yeah, because you believe the defense over the prosecution. I don't know, Lynn, is that to me or is that to somebody else in chat? Because now I just have to read chat. I feel it's easy for people to go with corruption and everything has been staged for the last 6 years. No organization is that organized. No organization is that organized. I don't necessarily fall under the corruption umbrella. If there is these issues, I think it's just more negligent and incompetent. And this is why I feel that way kind of all the way around. Because I feel like there's just a lot of negligence and incompetence. There's people getting, getting information from all directions and have had information from all directions. It's just, the Fig and Skip. I was mentioning another Teresa. Sorry. All the Teresas. The Rockway says, what if the corruption is to prevent transparency and violate civil rights in a systematic way? I believe if it's corruption, if that's what you want to call it, I think it has more to do with covering up the mistakes that were made in order to preserve the case they have against Richard Allen. And this is, I think, the part that frustrates me, because if Richard Allen is the guy, if he really is the right guy, what happens if this is the kind of crap that's being done and then he doesn't actually get held accountable? And then also vice versa. So that's the frustrating part. That's why I really try to focus on the systems in place and what they're supposed to do versus like what we're actually seeing, because that's where I just am like appalled all across the board. Let me see. She asked questions and he didn't confirm or deny. Hold on, maybe I missed the other part. Oh, here we go. I used to talk with Terry in a group and privately. I feel she took advantage of the situation and things Holman told her were not a huge leak. I'm super upset with Holman, but not for that. Holman and Liggett seem to be two of the main players on that side, and I really do. I think that I could see like Nick McClelland when it came to that professor situation. Like I told you guys, I could see Nick McClelland going like, "What the fuck, Jerry? Are you kidding me? Like, I just sent them an email that said this. You're going to make me look like an idiot." Like, I would love to be a fly on the wall when Nick is talking to the investigators. Like, what the fudge are you guys doing to me here? And I know that there's people who just don't like Nick and think that he's incompetent. I just can't figure it out. I don't know where that layer comes in yet. I don't know if it falls into just everybody, or if it's, I don't know. Or if it's just he's doing the best he can with the shit that he's gotten. I'm not there yet. I struggle with Holman though. Like, what are you doing? Holman and Liggett, you two are killing me. Okay, let's go back to Barbara McDonald.
Let's get into the meat of it. I mean, the intensity of this case and the tension between the defense and the prosecution and the judge, and now you've got it with people who are covering the story. All of this, it's unreal what's happening out in Indiana. So the first thing I want to deal with is the contempt hearing, right? So there's the prosecution wants the defense off the case, or what do they want done to the defense attorneys here? And it's kind of unusual for prosecutors making these types of allegations.
Yeah, and these allegations immediately followed that Supreme Court case back in January that reinstated these defense attorneys. This filing from the prosecutor came just a day or two after that. And he said in court he wasn't asking for any particular remedy, that would be up to the court. But my understanding is that everything is on the table, from a fine to sanctions to perhaps even jail time. Now, the judge did hear some testimony from both sides. She said she's going to take the entire issue under advisement, and she is not planning to issue a ruling on that issue until the week before the trial begins in May, which is just 56 days away. So it definitely seems unlikely that one of those options will be the removal of those defense attorneys.
Well, with this case's history, nothing's off the table, Barbara. But you're right. You're absolutely right. It'd be very unlikely for that to happen, but who knows? So, and again, this is all related to images from the crime scene that were on the computer screen of one of the lawyers, and someone without permission took images of that and disseminated it to some podcaster / YouTube people.
Okay, so this is actually very interesting. So these photos with the whole, Holman says the ISP essentially gave the defense uncensored ones. So they immediately knew that the leaked ones had to have come from the defense, because otherwise they would have had two rectangles. Well, there's a problem here, and we don't know whose hands they all went through with all the editing and changing that was done. So at this point, and I'm going to be very honest with you guys, I have now been given the pictures multiple times, and they are the same photos that were from the get-go, but one has a square and one has a circle. So I don't know if somebody in the process of them being passed around changed the circle and put a square, or if it was two different sets. They're the same photo. So I'm struggling with that. So I know that the ones that Rick Snay had, and he put out, he had originally said, I think yesterday, that he had two rectangles, and then he corrected it today on his community post and said he made the mistake, which we knew it was a mistake, because I have it all written down, because remember I was doing the whole leak thing on the Prezi. He said that he had gotten a rectangle and a circle. Well, now there are the same photo with a circle and the same photo with a square. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know, because it also seems that, if you remember, we talked about, I hate even talking about these, but remember we talked about that there was something that resembled almost like a watermark. It had like the straight lines around, like almost like a rectangle watermark, but it was really faded. Where are the circle and rectangles in the photos? So both photos, like I said, it's the same photo, just an FYI. It is the same photo, just with two different censorships on it. The one photo has a rectangle, or I should say both photos have a rectangle over the breasts. The lower portion is censored, one with a square and one with a circle. Hi, Angela. So but I don't know who changed it, because like I said, so one of the original ones that I was sent, it had almost this little rectangle circle is what you received, Interesting, True Crime Web. Interesting. So I don't, that's what I'm saying. I don't know who changed them along the passing of them. So what I was saying, like, there's like this weird watermark looking type line on the photo of Libby underneath the large black rectangle on the top. It's like it looks like a faded watermark almost. Now the other one I received with the rectangle, not with the rectangle and the square, that is not there. There is no black light colored line that looks somewhat like a watermark. So that was very interesting to me, because I'm like, how that it really puts in how much of this has been changed throughout it being sent from person to person. Why would anyone share it is the bigger question. I think at this point it was almost shared to try to prove a point versus sharing for like a gory thing about it. That was, I mean, that's obviously not what not what I'm doing, not what I want to do. It was more like, look, this is, you cannot see this and you can see this type of thing to prove the point, because it became such a big deal. Now, obviously at the beginning of this, that's very problematic. And Fortson told Holman he wanted an attorney several times and only to be threatened. That stuff. Not rectangles and triangles, this case as well. Yeah, we're now, so I don't know what it means. Like I said, I have no idea if the people that they had been passed through, it literally, it could have been any of them. It could have been changed by anybody. So I just want to put that out there, that there is two different sets of the same pictures. And so when I say like trying to prove things, was, if you guys remember when we were talking about the leak, I'm pretty adamant that I think there is two sets of pictures, like two actual different sets of photos. And one has been around for at least 1.5 years. And the other one is potentially what has come out now. So I've been pretty clear that I think that there is two. So when I was sent the second set, it was to compare to the first set to see if it was the same pictures. Because what I was saying about the circles and the squares, or the rectangles at the time, was not, and the watermark was not matching what this person thought that they had seen. So it was sent to prove that, well, it was essentially, they were sent to prove that there was a different batch of photos, but it didn't prove that. It just proved that there's different things on the same photo, if that makes sense. Were the two close-up pics that have a huge blurred part real? Or the two close-up pics that have a huge blurred part real? I don't think so. Is that the one that has like the little red, like has like a little red thing in it? Is that what you're referring to? Because if that's, I think I know what you're talking about, but that is not anything to do with these. That's something very different. In my opinion, that they released them for audience part to give credence to that point. I think it's possible. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know and cannot say or prove, and which is what I was really hoping was going to be figured out yesterday in this contempt hearing, which it doesn't seem that they were able to say or prove that Baldwin actually colluded or conspired, or whatever you want to refer to it as, with Westerman or Fortson to put out these photos. I would think if they had found that communication, that would have been, I mean, huge evidence. That was right. I mean, that would have been the biggest point. Now, honestly, after yesterday, the pics and leaks don't really matter that much anymore. We all know this case leaks like a sieve. We could just assume they came from both sides. Call it a wash and be done. Right, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, like, I was already done with figuring out this leak shit before, but now it's like, once this is done, like, it's not even going to matter unless they decide to do something and try to hold McLeland in contempt or something along those lines. Yeah, what's done is done. Was it right? No. Snape posted and said he stated wrong yesterday, so as to the images he got. Yeah, that's what I was saying. He corrected himself. So that's really what I was waiting for, because I wondered when Baldwin, in one of the motions, it was said that Baldwin had shown the Frank's motion to Westerman and to one civilian. I was like, okay, is that civilian? Is that civilian like Fortson? Or like, who is that person? What comes out yesterday was it was like somebody from a restaurant or something along those lines. Okay, so Steve received October 5th. I've listened to other people's description of the images. They are different than what I had, so more than one set of images. I received a set of 2, and I received a set of 4. Like I said, the 2 are the same 2 from the other side. They're not different photos. They're the same photos, just weird. Like, is it a fake watermark? Did somebody try to remove the watermark? I just don't know. It is interesting. Regardless of how I feel, the Supreme Court reinstated them. I'm puzzled as to whether it was civil or criminal contempt. We never even got that. They never even told us that cold truth. We never even got to figure that out yesterday. Was it criminal? What are they being held in? Who knows? Does it pertain to, Robin, does it pertain to what I'm talking about? Because if it doesn't, I'm not pulling it up. Not the defense. The leaks come from officers or investigators who want to remain unknown. They know what we don't and want it out in the world. RA could be not guilty. So like I said, I just really wanted something to prove to me that Baldwin, because I was on the fence with that. I was like, okay, man, well, maybe Baldwin is talking to, maybe Baldwin is doing something he's not supposed to. Well, it seems to me that if they had that, it would have been out yesterday, and I don't think they proved that. So that's where I'm at with it. And I think that Westerman, and even if it was Westerman and Fortson, they didn't prove that either. They didn't prove that there was any conspiring between the two of them to put out this kind of stuff. It seems to me, which is kind of what I had thought when I was wrapping up the whole leak thing anyway, is that one person shared them with the other person and then screwed that person over. And it just continued to go that way. Like, one person, here you go, I'm going to send it to you, which screws over the person before. And that's kind of where everything ended up. I don't think that the screwing over was intentional. I think there comes something like of, wanting to see if they're real, wanting to see, wanting to have something that other people don't have. And this is very big when it comes to social media in general, but especially in true crime, like having the quote unquote inside information. I mean, I think both sides of social media, whether you support the defense or you support the prosecution, there's now things that are out there that are like, why do you have that? Who gave that to you? And what's your source? And it's like, nope, I can't tell you. But why put it out there at all then, unless you are wanting people to look at you like you have information nobody else has? And I think that's a bigger issue, because that's where people are getting like, oh, look I have all these sources, but I'm just going to tell you that this is all fact when it's not necessarily fact. And just take it for what you want. Fortson wasn't a civilian. Well, so I kind of went back and forth with that because of the fact that he was military, but the way it was worded was civilian. So I was like, do they mean that? But it doesn't matter, because we found out yesterday that it wasn't Fortson. It was somebody else. Well, you'd have to show me proof of that, because there is no proof of that. And I think if they had proof, they would have shown it yesterday, which they did not. So, I mean, you can theorize that all you want to, but to say it is fact is inaccurate. Are we going long and hard tonight? I hope not. You never know. Only count if the defense is in any way involved. The state can fuck up nonstop for 6+ years. No big whoop. Well, I'm hoping that the motion to dismiss that went through yesterday, that was heard yesterday, brings to light, and it seemed like everybody that I've talked to and anybody who was in the courtroom yesterday that's in the chat, you guys feel free to chime in. It seemed to me that she was paying a lot of attention when it came to the motion to dismiss, that she was listening to what was being said. Unlike, remember when they were at lunch and the reporters were like, she looks bored and exhausted or exasperated or whatever. So everybody I've talked to has said that she actually seemed like she was paying attention to what was happening. Right. And which ATS, you absolutely have that right. And that was not proven in court yesterday either. Baldwin wasn't even directly accused. That just didn't happen. It was merely alluded to because they did not have evidence to allege that. So from my understanding, Holman was asked when he was on the stand if he believed that Rosie had anything to do with it. And I'm probably not wording that correctly, but if he believed that Rosie should be punished for it or something like that. And Holman said no. And then he said, okay, you guys could just block purple puddles. That's sick to me. I don't like that. Get that out. Just get that out of here. That is horrendous to even claim. That's sick. Anyway, and then Holman was asked if he thought that Baldwin should be punished. And he said yes. So Fiend is that, and or Gambies, you're here too now. Either one. Was that kind of how you took it? Okay, perfect. I will. I'll pull it up then. If it's about what I'm talking about, absolutely. I just don't want to go off the rails. I've never had so many people come in here and try to quote unquote troll me since I've gotten that stupid fight on Reddit. So that's where I'm at. I don't remember Holman being asked that. Okay. Hi, Leah. Doug Carter can't be happy with the Ellie representation in court yesterday. Hmm. I don't remember them saying that. Okay. They didn't even connect Westerman. Thank you, Steven. She kind of has to. If he goes for an appeal, she is directly responsible. Her actions thus have been unprofessional as a judge. Well, that's what I was saying is like even when we were looking at what was happening at the lunch break yesterday, it seemed that she wasn't really engaged, if you will. And now, from what I'm hearing about the afternoon, I remember Hennessy saying Rosie shouldn't have anything to do with it. Okay. I got in a Reddit fight and got blocked. Figs are kind of a purple fruit. Yeah. Well. Hi, Kathy. If Holman has not been fired today, that means his boss is happy with him lying under oath. Well, we don't know. We don't know. He could be reprimanded. They may already know. I mean, they may. I don't know. I don't know. There's a whole bunch to it that's just kind of crazy to me. But I do believe that one of the things that was said was when they were trying to talk to Holman about his deposition. And like I said, if you guys were there yesterday and you tell me what you think, that Holman was like, I didn't sign that deposition because there's inaccuracies in it. So like that's why I didn't even sign it. There seemed to be a lot of alluding that Fortson and Baldwin had some sort of connection. That did not seem to be true at all based on what was presented. Clearly, Baldwin was consulting with Mitch, which he openly admitted to. I mean, he said, I showed him the Frank's memo. I wanted to get his feedback on it. Well, the thing is I don't think any of the recordings of the depositions have been lost, so we're good with that. Okay, I'm going to keep playing this.
Right, who then further disseminated those images. And we heard from Indiana State Police, who investigated that incident. They did not bring any charges against the attorney involved, and that is Andrew Baldwin. But they did take a look at some of the other people. And in fact, one of the people that they questioned regarding this leak ended up taking his own life. Another person has been charged with conversion. That trial has not happened yet. My understanding is that is supposed to happen in the next couple of weeks. One of the things that the prosecutor said, though, in his sort of closing summation of that part of the hearing today was that, you know, the leak of these images creates a lot of just pain and suffering that's absolutely impossible to repair, that the families of Abby and Libby, every time they go on social media, have to be worried that they're going to see these images or that somebody is going to share them, and that they can potentially taint the jury pool. But one of the things that David Hennessy, who is the defense attorney for the defense attorneys, brought up, that he got First Sergeant Jerry Holman of the Indiana State Police to admit on the witness stand today, is that they did not go after everyone that their investigation revealed had acquired those images. So David Hennessy made the point that, hey, if you're so worried about these images being out there, why didn't you go after everyone down that chain that you discovered had received those images and force them to delete those images? And because you didn't do that, we shouldn't be held responsible for the potential harm that these images could cause.
And again, my understanding is the person who took them didn't have permission to do it. It's not like the defense is like leaking things like sometimes that the government does in other cases. The federal government is really good at leaking information, and no one ever gets in trouble for that. And here we're trying to take, you know, it's strange. It's very unusual. Now, another big part of today.
Essentially, yeah, a war room. Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that essentially these images were on display in the war room for Attorney Baldwin's office, and that, yeah, he did not imagine that anybody would go in there without permission and take pictures of pictures that were on display and then to share those, and that he is essentially a victim of theft and shouldn't be held accountable for that.
Yeah, I mean, if someone stole it from prosecutors, do we think that they'd be held in? I don't know. I don't know. This is very unusual what's happening, but we'll see a week before the trial what the judge says about that. Now, let's talk about the actual charges, what this case is really about.
Okay, so, and this is true, that apparently this was also talked about a little bit yesterday, is if they actually cared about the leak and how far it had gotten or the photos being out there, they never even went to the people that they told to delete the things and verified that they were deleted. I mean, that's just kind of crazy to me. So they didn't care. They cared about Westerman more than they cared about the fact that the pictures were out. Maybe at that point they just thought it was uncontrollable, or, you know, I'm not sure. But I know that you got it on the record. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Adrian. And everybody else who gave super chats, I try to thank you guys in the chat. If you guys aren't reading chat, I do. I thank every one of you guys for supporting me and sending super chats. Also, my dad was a trial lawyer for nearly 50 years. He always had wanted advice from non-lawyers. Well, I would think so. I mean, I don't know if it would just be like the layman just at the street corner, but I'm thinking it would probably be important to talk to people that are going to be in your jury pool or potentially in your jury pool and see what they kind of think. Not to put, and I don't mean that to like, oh yeah, let's go taint the jury. That's not what I mean. But you want to know, you have to make sure that your strategy for your defense is actually going to work, if that's what it is. or you want them to quote unquote poke holes in it. Spicy, thank you for the gifted memberships and welcome to all the new members. She always asks her mom and her uncle. Yeah. Like they would be the type of people who would end up in a jury pool. So like, hey, what do you think? I think they really wanted to show that it was all done intentionally. And at the bottom line is they were unable to prove that. The entire thing was targeted to implicate Baldwin. That's it. They didn't care about anybody else or the photos. Right. That's where I stand with it. He did the fake jury thingies. A mock jury, Adrian. I love you. You're just so funny. No one stole from Nick. He just colluded with Fig. They didn't. Like I said, that was not the topic of yesterday's, and so they didn't have to prove that in order to hold Nick accountable for anything. What they were simply trying to show is there is information that is coming out on the prosecution side or law enforcement side or even from Gull's office, and in that you have somebody who's saying they're receiving it and disseminating it to the public. Whether that's true or not, they didn't prove that yesterday. I think they proved the fact that somebody is saying that that's happening. Now, why they're saying that, I have no idea whether it's true or not. I believe the images were released to push a narrative. I don't disagree with that. I just really want to know who decided that it would be beneficial. Who decided who decided it would be beneficial? And if you go with like, okay, so the defense wanted them out there because they wanted people to see the Odinism stuff, right? Well, I don't see crime scene photos benefiting the defense, but hey, crazy things. Maybe they wanted the same thing, like how we were just talking about how like why like I received another set of photos was to prove a point. Maybe the people that were in the conversation were saying, yeah, I don't believe it is Odin. Maybe, Fortson and Westerman were friends for a very long time. Maybe Fortson's like, hey, I don't think it has anything to do with Odin, and I think you guys are off your rocker for even trying to go this route. And Westerman's like, I'm going to prove it to you, and then sends him the photos. So even if it's like just to push like the individual narrative of like, hey, I'm right, or if it's a whole thing, which like I said, they did not prove that yesterday. There was no talk or no insinuation from my understanding that the defense even thought that Nick and Westerman were colluding. If you guys that were there yesterday got a different opinion on that, please let me know, because from my understanding, it did not seem like they had any thought that Nick and Westerman knew each other. It seems very simple in the fact of Westerman was getting information, which he's allowed to, and passing that along, which is the betrayal part. And then he goes in and takes these photos, which he openly admits to. They said they do have that information from Westerman's phone where he's messaging Baldwin on October 9th and saying, hey, we need to talk. Now, yeah, so I don't know. There was nothing on Fig yesterday? There was. That's what Skip's testimony was. To show that he had stated in to Skip that he was talking to McLeland and to somebody that worked for the judge. Did it affect anything? Well, I don't know, because we don't know the outcome of the hearing yet. But yeah, he was brought up. That was the whole point of the testimony. And so I said the point of Julie's testimony was to talk about Terry Williams and Holman. Oh, Kathy, you were there too. The defense brought up that it could have been Mitch or Mike Thomas that put the photos out there. Okay, so we're going to get to that too, because that's one thing I want some clarification on. They do bring up Mike Thomas. So I wondered if it was what the context was. I'll give the defense the benefit of the doubt, but the supporters of the defense may have gone rogue. I think that's very possible too. I think that's very possible. Well, that's why I'm like, do they just want to put out, like, does it come to, I have something that you don't, and I want you to know that I have something that you don't? Or was it like, hey, I'm going to prove to you that my theory is right and your theory is wrong by giving you something that I have that you don't. You know what I mean? Something to say no. Well, so it's interesting that they dismissed the hearsay on that part, but then allowed testimony with screenshots, apparently, that were given from Mark to Murder Sheet between him and Kyle Fortson. And then Murder Sheet gave them to Holman. And Fortson, Cohen, and Murder Sheet, none of them were testifying. But these were screenshots. So I'm surprised that they let those in when none of those people were testifying. But they didn't let the other ones in. I don't know the legal rule on why that would have happened. That'll be one of the things that I'm hoping that Bob will address. Technically, Baldwin was a victim, just not the victim of a horrendous murder. Bunch of folks got to have people know they know something you don't. Yeah, I know. I don't. Yeah, I've got intel because they know. Yes. Not in court, but it has been said. Mike Thomas was brought up in court. I have that on my notes. I want to clarify the context of it. I feel like I'm missing a lot of comments, and you guys may be talking to each other, and I apologize if I'm taking things the wrong way. If any of you bought the MSM narrative that I got thrown out for acting up inside the court, that's a lie. I haven't heard that one yet, but I know that I haven't read I was going to pull up the Carroll County comment. If Nick expected a plea deal and it never happened, he would have to gain a lot by having the defense lawyers DQ'd over the leak. That's a great point. But was it an opportunity? Was it an opportunity that was presented to them and they captured? They what do they call it? Like they just used the opportunity that was given because of a sequence of events. No, you're not. I have roofers. Yeah, that's why I'm like, dang it. I know. I have roofers. Yes. No. Everybody probably hears them. I'm hoping that they're almost done. Did you hear Bob's live yet from last night? He said Judge Gold did her job yesterday. Yes. He believed that she was actually more in line as a judge than he'd seen her before. He actually thought that she did a good job compared to how she'd been. And he was happy that he actually took the drive out there. Okay. Let's see. Am I like that far behind? Mike Thomas was part of the investigation and a whistleblower, so I'm sure he would come up at some point. Mike didn't leak shit, and not even the people saying he did believe their own bullshit. I didn't know they were. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I do. I have roofers. Actually, maybe I misspoke. It's the sister-in-law she's friends with, right? There's a connection, but my brain is fuzzy. Yes, Rick. You did. You looked pretty snazzy yesterday, Rick. No, not me, T? Okay. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to go back to... I think I'm just going to probably go back to watching this because I think I'm lost on what happened in chat because I skipped all over the place. Likely excuse. I'm sticking with body in the dryer. Keep it up, Steve. Keep it up. No, I'm just kidding. And Bob's tie was like matching his shoes, apparently. Yeah. So there was a couple people that were that are in the chat that were in the hearing yesterday. So I'm very happy that we get to get some insight that way too and compare from the notes that we have been given. All right, so really.
Abby, Libby, and the accused Richard Allen. There was another hearing involving the charges in this case, which have now been changed.
They've amended the charges initially.
Jiu-jitsu. Frank said, check your Discord ASAP. Sorry to interrupt. Okay, I will check it. Thank you. If you start shit in Teresa's chat, you end up in her dryer. Yeah, when I say block them, I just mean put them in the dryer. Put them in the dryer. Okay, so let me play this, and I'll check a couple things because I know a couple people said they messaged me.
Richard Allen was charged with 2 counts of murder that was essentially felony murder. Indiana doesn't have first, second, third degree murder, but the prosecutor said in all of his documents that he was charging them with murder that happened during the attempted kidnapping of the girls, and that therefore all they would have to prove is the attempted kidnapping, and he would therefore be guilty of the murder as well. Now they have added 2 additional charges of intentional murder, so he is facing 4 counts of murder for the deaths of Abby and Libby back in 2017.
All right, that's a big development in this case. Now, there was another hearing today, and this is a motion brought not by the prosecution, like these first 2, but by the defense to dismiss the case based on destruction of exculpatory evidence. This is the one I need the explanation on. What happened here? What's alleged to have happened? Why is the defense saying that the prosecution is destroying evidence of their client's innocence?
So it turns out, Vinny, that back in August of 2017, law enforcement investigating these murders discovered that all of the audio and video recordings of interviews with witnesses and potential suspects during the first week of the investigation, from February 13th of 2017 until the 20th of that month, had been recorded over. And they didn't even discover that until August of that year. The defense says they weren't told about it until very recently when they inquired, where are these interviews? How can we watch these? How can we listen to these interviews? And today in court, we found out that not only did that happen once, it happened another time for about 2 months, where all of those recordings were deleted or recorded over between April and June of 2017. And furthermore, Vinny, that they don't even have a log of who those people are who were interviewed during those times, that those interviews are now missing. So they can't even go back and create a list of, here are all of the people we talked to during that time who we no longer have their interview recorded.
Is the state, the prosecution here, conceding that these recordings are gone, that they're missing, that they existed at one point and now they're gone?
Well, we assume they existed at one point. Nobody, I guess, really went back to check until August. And
so this is also very interesting to me because, you know, they had told, the prosecutor had told the defense team, like, hey, the first 7 days essentially were recorded over because it holds 6 months, and then, you know, it starts recording over, you know, at the beginning. So it's like it recorded a full 6 months in 1 week, and then all of a sudden, so that takes back, it starts over, and now we're at the first, you know, the first week is gone. But I have not really understood a clear explanation on what happened to the interviews from April to June. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
And that's when they discovered that this DVR system that they had installed in the Delphi Police Department that was operated by a switch. And they were telling all of the officers who were looking into the case in those early days, you know, anybody you want to talk to, bring them on into the Delphi Police Department, take them into one of these rooms, flip the switch, and then it'll be recorded. And instead, what they discovered was that somehow the system was reset so that it was on a continuous record. So everything just kept getting recorded over. And so, yeah, they are admitting that we don't have those interviews. We cannot share them with you. In some cases, they do have the narrative that the officer wrote after conducting those interviews, but the prosecution says there's nothing in any of those interviews that would be exculpatory or help Richard Allen's defense, and therefore it kind of doesn't matter.
Wow.
Well, it absolutely does matter. I mean, it matters if they're gone.
But they don't know everyone who was interviewed. Were any of these interviews in any way?
I also
heard
things
have gotten much.
I also heard that when they were talking about the fact that these interviews were gone, they're just gone. That I think it was Baldwin at that point that was questioning Mullen, and he said, like, do you think that's like the best system to have in place or something along those lines? And then Mullen's like, hindsight's 2020. Like, oh gosh. Okay. Let me see. Let me get rid of this real quick. All right. Yeah, just in that room, just for this case, I think there needs to be a lot more clarification on that. Was anything, well, I think obviously from the 13th to the 19th or whatever it was, the 20th, or the 14th to the 20th, I mean, that's going to have probably everything to do with the Delphi case from April till June or whatever those dates were. Then I'm wondering, like, yeah, so how many other cases are affected by it? Or was it only in a room that was, or video that was being used for Delphi? And how do they not have a list of who they interviewed? It doesn't add up to me. Hi, Sleuth Intuition. What's up? Oh, shoot. Did I seriously go all the way back? I don't even know where I was now.
That's when they discovered that this DVR officer wrote, who was the Delphi police chief at the time, that they didn't keep a log.
Wow. But all this stuff.
He does, yes.
And it may be him, it may not be him. I don't know. It's just grainy enough so you can't tell the facial features. But it's enough for a little follow-up, right? Like before 5 years, you want to follow up with the guy who said he was there. And they somehow misplaced this information.
And one of the points that Andrew Baldwin made in court today regarding that is, perhaps, they're saying that the information that this man conveyed to them during that interview would not help Richard Allen's defense. Their point is, what if he said something in that interview that then later you found some evidence about, that you could then go back and go, aha, see, he kind of indicated he might have some knowledge about something that perhaps he shouldn't have had knowledge of. They can't do that because that interview they don't have. They only have a narrative, which was described several ways, being perhaps 6 paragraphs.
I think that, I mean, it's interesting that Barbara McDonald is actually like saying, hey, like, where are all these recordings? I mean, let's just think about if all the depositions that the defense has done, hold on. If all the depositions that the defense has done and they're like, oh, oops, we don't have any of those videos, but we wrote our notes about it. We wrote our notes about what, Holman said. And so we're just going to use that in court. And we think that's going to be good enough. You think that Nick McClelland is going to be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. You can just go ahead and use whatever you guys wrote down. No, nobody's going to be okay with that. Hi, Shay Bay. Hi, Marshall. And a certain person tells most what to say and not to say. Yeah. Nick said there is absolutely nothing in there. Then they give them videos without audios. Well, the other part is Nick wouldn't know what was in there. He wasn't even the prosecutor at the time, so he's never actually seen the videos. And he states that, like, hey, the state's going off the exact same thing that the prosecutor's going off of because we never got to see him either. And it's like, well, then how the hell do you know? Yeah, you're just, and I get this is all about trust, and I keep trying to put that out there. This is about trust, and that's what happens with social media, and it's you listen to who you trust, and if you're more pro-prosecution and you trust the prosecution, you don't trust the defense, and vice versa. It's fine, I get it, but I don't know how. I don't think anybody, no matter what, thinks it's okay to just go, hey, we're going to say that there's nothing important on there when we don't even know what was on there. We can't tell you what was on there because we've never actually seen it ourselves. So, I don't know.
Paragraphs, very short paragraphs, maybe 100 words on the entire document. That's the narrative of what he had to say back in those first days of the investigation.
Wow. The more we learn, the scarier it
And he
gets.
says
The way
wow a
all
lot
of
when it
this
comes to
went
Delphi.
down. It doesn't help prosecutors. Doesn't mean they can't win the case. Doesn't mean that Richard Allen can't be found guilty. But it's going to be much more of a challenge now. Barbara McDonald on the ground in Fort Wayne tonight. Thank you so much. All right, folks. When we come back, what do they think? What do they think about what we're learning about Delphi?
All right, so let's skip ahead a little bit. And then we'll go into some of the motions. Librato was in court yesterday, which is super intriguing to me. I don't know if he's just like invested at this point in what happens, if he was there for a reason. I don't know. I just thought it was, and Scremin was not there, apparently, just Librato. And Librato's the only one who's done an interview. So are these the two guys that end up fighting all the time? I think this is the two guys who fight all the time. I don't know why Vinny puts them on together. Probably because they fight all the time. Librato was playing on his phone. Yeah, and then apparently Baldwin had his phone and got turned in for that, for having his phone in the gallery. But then Librato had his phone? I don't know. It's weird. Librato was playing around on his phone. Okay, let's see what they have to say. I'm pretty sure these are the two guys that just fight all the time. Yeah, they are, huh? Mother of Dragons. I tried to tell him your message, but I think I'm blocked too. Oh, okay. I don't know what that is. Several of the investigators should have folders with lists of interviews, dates, times, etc. I don't know how it's no biggie. It's no biggie they lost these interviews. It's no biggie that other ones were recorded over. Even if we go with like human error, like it's just, this is why my gut has told me that I think what's happening is the shenanigans that we perceive from the prosecutor's side or law enforcement, because it could be either way. Like I'm really kind of leaning towards it's law enforcement, and that Nick's just going like, what the fuck am I doing now? Like, what do I do? But he's like in the fight because him and the defense team just don't like each other, so he's just in it. Like there's no getting out of it. I don't know. But I'm wondering, like, are all the shenanigans that we perceive, are they because they're trying to cover up the crap that they have screwed up? Not necessarily like a cover up of like, oh, Holman was the bridge guy kind of cover up, like we're going to cover for him. More like we just did a really shitty investigation and we can't let anybody know we did a really shitty investigation because we're already going to be struck for the fact that we had this tip for 5.5 years that we told the public. We went back to the beginning like 7 times and we continued to miss it all the times we went back to the beginning. I don't know.
Also joining us in the tri-state area, Stamford, Connecticut, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland. And in the other tri-state area in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. Great to see everyone tonight. Let's start here, Al. Investigators recorded over interviews with witnesses, like erasing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's summarize. So they had videos of witnesses, tipsters, maybe even potential suspects. Now they no longer have those videos. They're not sure who they interviewed, but they are extremely positive that nothing said would have benefited the defendant in any way. What's the problem with that? I mean, this is unbelievable. In this day and age, to be able to go forward and say, well, we don't know what we have, but we know this, it wouldn't have helped you. How would we know that? I mean, this is a Keystone Cops investigation. That's a disaster for these poor victims in this case. And perhaps a man who's innocent with regards to these charges. This is just a comedy of errors that should not be happening in 2024. How do you not know that you're going to be like going over this video and that you're destroying evidence? The evidence was destroyed. And that's a huge problem for the prosecution in this case. I don't care what they say. They can get up there and till they're blue in the face.
So I just want to address this really quick because I somebody else that was in the courtroom that I don't think even knew Frank Meister had said that also said they saw them. So, but it wasn't like you couldn't really make out a bunch. But what they did say was that it looked like there was more colors on there than the photos that were leaked. So I found that curious too. But from according to where they were, they said that you couldn't make out like actual details. It was like McClelland was walking over to the defense table and was like, "Are these the ones that you're referring to?" And like shows them, and it's like the people that are right there in the crowd could kind of see what was happening. Not like they weren't like walking around like, you know, like in a ring just showing them to like the crowd. But I did hear it from somebody else though too.
But the bottom line is, oh, nobody helped them. But who did you interview? Well, we don't know.
It's very problematic. Darnell, I've never seen anything quite like it. And I mean, but it's consistent with what else is developed in this case, because one of those witnesses who was spoken to early on is the defendant, who told investigators, yeah, I was there at the bridge, and then somehow whatever evidence they have or record of that they have was on the bottom of some pile in some other drawer for 5 years until they opened it up and said, oh, maybe we should take a second look at the guy who told us he was there, who kind of has the same build as the guy in the video.
Yeah, so you and I both, when you say you never seen nothing like it, in the lead up to this segment, you said several times yourself that you questioned the prosecution, that you questioned the government's behavior. So I was wondering, was I on Court TV with Villian Politan? I thought I was on the
listen,
show.
Darnell, I call him as I see him. I hold prosecutors to a very high standard on this program. But I do recognize that
lean this way. You do lean that way a little bit.
98% of the people arrested are obviously guilty. And then the last 2% that go to trial, like 85% of them are found guilty. Of the 15% of the 2% that are left, you couldn't prove the case, but they are likely guilty. So I do understand that, but we have problems with the prosecution here for sure, Darnell. But it's not just the prosecution, it's the investigators as well.
So the question here with what we normally have as lawyers, and the prosecution normally tries to wiggle out. If they have something in their possession that could be exculpatory, Brady material, they have to turn it over. A lot of times prosecution play these games where the police has some things in the police's possession that the prosecution can get. And that's why the statute usually says if they can get these things with ease, they should do so. So the prosecution sometimes will leave things with the police that they know will be exculpatory and say, we don't have it in our possession. In this particular case, they didn't do that, but the items were was erased and being taped over unintentionally. And so they don't technically have it in their possessions. They should have just did more to make sure it was preserved. So it's sort of a 50-50 here. They're not really being accused of having something and they're hiding it. They don't have it, but they should have had it had they done more.
They pretty much destroyed it. They erased it. And it's law enforcement. It's not the DA or the prosecutor. Jennifer Brand, here's how I'm looking at this, right? On the one hand, the prosecution is livid that some crime scene photos were stolen from the defense, okay? I get it. It was bad. It shouldn't have happened. It's very troublesome and painful for the family. But on the other hand, you have investigators, the state, destroying evidence. Like, which of those two behaviors deserves to be punished, or which is worse? They're both bad.
Yeah.
But in our system of justice, the crime scene photos are eventually going to be evidence in the case.
Right, and from the defense attorney, I mean, as we heard in the opening part, those photos were stolen. I mean, they didn't disseminate the information. They didn't, give these photos to YouTubers to promote or to show on the internet. Somebody came in and took them, went in and did something wrong. I mean, committed a crime by taking those photos. So in some respects, I mean, they really had no control over that. What could they have done? They were trying to preserve this information. But on the prosecutor and the police, the investigators, I mean, they should have known that they didn't even log properly who they were interviewing. I mean, they could have at least made a list of all the people that they interviewed, but they didn't even do that. So what a mishap that was. Looking at the relative culpability here. It seems that the investigators should have been able to preserve that information. They're usually blaming, other people for losing information, and here they are losing some very, very valuable information, and we don't know what was said, and we don't even know who was necessarily interviewed. So I think it's a real problem.
And it's not even losing. It's you're literally erasing it or destroying it. That, to me, because it exists at
not
one
even
point,
having it, I guess,
and
right.
then it no longer exists. Like, people do that, they get in trouble. Like, I don't want anyone prosecuted for this, but this is a big deal. This is a big problem, a big issue.
Okay, so I see there's like a whole bunch of topics happening in chat, but I do want to talk about that. I do believe it's a big issue. I do think that is probably the most serious part that Gola was actually paying attention to, from what I've been told and what I'm hearing, is that she was like, how did all of this happen? Why is it all gone? For me, I find it very interesting that they just didn't tell them. They knew the entire time that it was gone, but they didn't tell them. They knew before they arrested Richard Allen that it was gone. I don't know. I don't get that. Okay, so they should have obviously have the names for their own case. It's unbelievable. The problem is going to be even if they come forward and say, hey, here's all our written reports from April to June, or whatever the dates are. Like I said, I don't remember the dates now. If they come forward and say that, does it matter? Because we don't trust the reports anyway. So even if they come up with a list, if they're like, oh, hey, we found this list of everybody we interviewed in that time frame, does anybody trust that list? Does anybody go, okay, we believe that this is the correct list of people that you interviewed? Or do we say like they just made the list? I don't know how that's a no-win situation once it's gone. So in my opinion, I think it's going to be taken very seriously by the judge. At least I hope. I'm going to think positive, and I think like, hey, this is a big deal. This will absolutely affect the outcome of the case, in my opinion, more so than some of the other shit that was being talked about yesterday. Yeah. I guess he was hoping RA would have a shitty public defender who wouldn't notice. There is part of me that does think that he was just expecting that this would just plea and it would be really easy and it would be done. And then now it's just become so complex that there's no plea. I mean, I've been saying that for a long time. I know people are like, oh, I think he's going to plea. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be any plea. Hi, that girl. I think the kidnapping video has been debunked now. I have some stuff going that I don't think it's debunked necessarily. I think it's just I think there's more to it than what we knew. I don't care if your mentality of a 7-year-old and a 7-year-old knows the difference between right and wrong and know better not to murder young girls. I agree with that too. I have a 7-year-old and I absolutely agree. So ST3 asked a question about that they were looking for the bullet or looking for a gun for 6 years, and they finally found it, and that his admissions are enough. Well, if you think he's the right guy and the jury agrees, then I'm all for it. But I personally don't think it's enough, and I think they're going to struggle when it comes to these quote-unquote admissions, because I don't think they're going to be the mind-blowing, I did it, and here's evidence to why I did it and how I can prove that it was me that did it. And I say this a lot on here, and I like my neighbors, so please don't take it that I don't like my neighbors. But if I walk into a police station tomorrow and I say, hey, I killed my neighbors, they can't just go, oh my gosh, here you're charged with first-degree murder and we're locking you away forever. They have to actually go investigate it and say, this is proof that I, Teresa, killed my neighbors. Now, even if my neighbors are dead, they still have to prove that I'm the one that did it. There has to be evidence besides me just walking in there and saying it. Now, yes, confessions, false confessions, all that plays a role into things. But we have no idea what was actually said or how it was received. If he said to his wife, it's my fault, I intended to do this, or it was an accident and they died, and I left whatever at the scene, or I put sticks on them, anything that the public would not know or anything like that, I'm all for it. And like I said, I know people who come in here to like quote unquote troll me or like, oh my God, you love Richard Allen. And I'll preface this by saying I have no loyalty to Richard Allen. I don't know him, but I do have loyalty and I do care about our constitutional rights. And I want to make sure that if he's the right guy, he is locked up, and also vice versa. I don't want somebody who isn't the right guy for this happening to be okay and just accepted by so many in society. I struggle with that because if this is your dad, if this is your son, if this is your brother, and you don't believe he's the right guy, and it comes out, let's say he's acquitted and he was treated like this for 2 years. Does anybody care? Does anybody care then if it's proven in the trial that he isn't the guy and the jury doesn't convict him? Because people ask me all the time, like, if the jury convicts him, like, are you going to be okay with that? And I'm like, yeah, if they have the evidence to believe that he did it, I'm fine. But what I want to know is on the opposite side, if you think he isn't, or you think he is the right guy and he gets off because of these shenanigans, how do you feel? I don't know. See, they just have to do it the right way. They just have to do it the right way. They still have to, they still have to prove I did it. If the crime scene was really released, according to Barbara McDonald, that's going to be a huge issue. And somebody, I don't remember who it was, but somebody earlier in the chat today said it's going to come down to what evidence she lets in and what she doesn't, right? I mean, as of right now, we haven't had we haven't had any issues with her saying that she's keeping anything out. I think everything that the state has brought forward is coming in, and I'm curious to see what happens with the motion to dismiss. I don't think it'll be dismissed, but I do think that there's going to be some type of, have to be something when it comes to what those missing audio tapes could or would have been. Kind of looking forward to watching Nick try to explain how a bullet the sheriff suggested was ejected in the course of coercing the girls at the bridge ended up in the dirt across the creek. Yeah. I mean, did he put it in his pocket? Did the girls put it in their pocket? Was it washed up there? I've pulled tapes and turned in for transcribing and been advised nothing on tape, taken years off my life. Yeah, but you wouldn't know unless you went and did it, though, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like these are gone, so we don't know what's on there. We don't know what's not on there. The confessions alone isn't enough to convict. If that was the case, then John Bonet's case would have been solved a long time ago with those false confessions. That's true, too. I think evidence that we know now points to RA. I think, I think it's possible. I'm not discounting it, but I think I need to know the strength behind some of the things. That's where I'm at with it. Like I always say, like I just have a few more questions that if I get answered, I think would push me to one way or the other. Okay, so let's talk about, let me pull up the notes now. Hold on one second. Let me see. All right, so where did I put them? Is the question. Why are they not here? Oh, you know what? Where did they end up? Shit. Give me 1 second, you guys. Figure out where the hell I put them. I'm like, ooh, I'll save this in this file, and I'll know exactly where to find it. And then come to find out, no, that's not true. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. No, that's not the picture I want. Why does this not want to work? Okay, so my lovely friend Sleuthy Goosey was kind enough to start putting all of this in readable form for us. So thank Sleuthy. Bye, Steve. Thank you very much for all your input. I really appreciate it. You guys make sure that you're subscribed over at True Crime Web. Is that the most recent one you sent? Well, shit, I hope so. Is it not? Nope, probably not. Let's go one more and see if it is. Nope, that's not it either. That has to do with the Soto case. This one. This is the most recent one. This the most recent one? Shit, Sleuthy, I don't know. Got these damn people banging on top of my head. It's like killing me. Here. Yeah, this is the right one. I know, Sleuthy Goosey's all fancy. Oh, come on. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, so she was putting all the notes together that we've been compiling so that they're like in a readable form. Yeah, Steve's retired CSI. He does a phenomenal job at breaking it down and explaining it to at least me, like I'm 5, on why some of the CSI stuff is the way that it is and why some of the crime scene stuff is the way that it is. And just in general, why some of the law enforcement stuff is the way that it is. So, yeah, like I said, he does a great job of just breaking it down into layman's terms of, like, this is how the process goes. So I'm much appreciative of him and his insight. Okay, so this is the beginning. So the hearing notes. Okay, here we go. So here's the contempt hearing. So that's the first one. That was the added charges. We've already gone over all of that. So McClellan claimed that Rosie and Baldwin engaged in a prolonged campaign to leak case info to win public support based on 4 instances. Issuing a defense press release against the judge's gag order. Press release came out a day before the gag order was issued. Mistakenly emailing an evidence list to someone not working the case. This was an error, not premeditated. Leak of crime scene photos from Baldwin's office. Neither attorney knew pics were being stolen from Baldwin's office. Communicating case info directly to the leaker. Not enough evidence to show that Baldwin provided case info directly to the leaker. So we've kind of gone over some of this. Contempt hearing underscored the bad blood between Gohl and the defense. Gohl's general demeanor during the hearing was one of disgust and impatience for the defense requests and arguments. Now, there was something that I thought was funny, and I think it was Gambies that said it, oh, sorry, give me 1 second, you guys. So, that Hennessy was unable to hear some of the, like, the comments from Gohl, and so he was like asking her to repeat things, and so there was some comments about that he couldn't hear. And I think we heard yesterday that the judge was like, do you need like an assisted or like a hearing assisted device or assisted hearing device? And then apparently when Rosie was on the stand, Hennessy was examining Rosie, and Rosie couldn't understand what Hennessy said, so Hennessy said, do you want to borrow my hearing device? I don't know, that made me laugh so fucking hard. I was like, that is crazy. Oh, no, you didn't even put that in there. It was rude. But it's so funny that he just seems like he's just like, I've been doing this for however many years, like 50,000 years. Gambies, was it you that said that? I think it was on when you were on Unraveling last night. I was crying watching the replay of that. It's like, oh, do you want to borrow my hearing device? He just seems like he's smart as a whip. I don't care if you like him or not, man. He just seems like he is smart as a whip, whether he heard the judge or not. I also wonder if he actually didn't hear the judge and was just purposely trying to piss her off. Because I do feel like that's also possible. And she just had the bailiff. She's like, can you just go? Maybe she just lend him one of hers. I don't know. I just thought it was so funny that I was like, he's on it. Okay, so her temper was on display throughout the hearings and directed only at the defense. This is a compilation of multiple notes. I just want to preface that, because like I was saying at the very beginning of this, I have been, and probably many of you, and I know Sleuthy has been, we've been listening to anybody who was in the hearing yesterday, just trying to get clarification on a few things that we had questions about. And then a couple people were kind enough to share their notes from being in the hearing. So this is a compilation of all of that, trying to get to the basis of like what actually happened, since we could not see it. And this is why there should have been cameras in the courtroom. We wouldn't be doing this. So yes, is this people's quote unquote opinions of what was said? It could be, but it's not. It could be maybe written wrong, or it was perceived wrong. That is all possible. You have to know that, because we cannot show you the hearing. This is what we have. Gamby, send it to Sleuthy. Send it to Sleuthy. I'm just like, you want to do it? Just fine, just do it. I got through like 5 sentences. A transcript will not be available to the public. I just don't. Yeah, you gotta love the sense of humor. He's a legend. He's a legend. My notes are a hot mess of screenshots right now. Fiend says, my notes look like the ramblings of a madman. So this is a compilation, and this is not done. This is not done yet, but it is just, like I said, it's just trying to get as much of the information put together from all the sources and see what where we kind of end up. Because like I said, at the end of when we go through the rest of the notes, there's 2 big things that I'm really trying to get clarification on, because it seems like I don't know exactly how it was said for us to know how to take it. All right, anyway, so she's not going to remove the defense from the case. So Mullen comes up and testifies. Mullen is there an S? Or Mullins, I guess it would be apostrophe, but Mullen is, if you guys don't remember, Mullen is the retired chief of police of Delphi. And he left and retired from there and joined the prosecutor's office as an investigator. So he's testifying, and he works with McClelland to provide discovery to the defense. He would provide a map receipt listing what is in the thumb drive and organizes it so that the defense knows what's been given each discovery dump. Now, I just want to point out the irony here, and I don't know if you guys caught it, but the person who was in charge of the Delphi Police Department when all the recordings go missing is now the person that is in charge of giving discovery to the defense team. That's a little ironic. So, let's see. So he would provide a map or receipt listing what is on the thumb drive and organize it so that the defense knows what's been given to in each discovery dump. Format looks like what we've seen everywhere else. He observed Woodhouse's YouTube video in March of 2023 and recognized that it had Baldwin and Rosie's names in it. Hennessy objects and says he didn't see this quote-unquote receipt that Mullen provides to the defense when delivering discovery. Nick says he sent it to Hennessy via email and spends eternity looking for the email he allegedly sent to Hennessy, but he never finds it. Like I said, anybody who was in court who has another thought or wants to add something, please feel free. Just nicely. Don't tell me how ridiculous I am or anything. Just nicely. Cross-examination. Did you see the email supposedly sent to Baldwin? Sent by Baldwin. Sorry, that was my mistake. Sent by Baldwin. No. Did you see the thumb drive? No. Did you see the witness list, including the juveniles? No. Did you see the email addressed to Brandon Woodhouse? No. So you have no proof of this said email from Baldwin to Woodhouse? No. After you got the info, did you report it to McClelland? Answer, yes, and Nick told him to document it. Do you have any info that the email was meant for Woodhouse? Answer is no. What was the date of the email? Answer, no idea. So essentially, All that they had was Brandon Woodhouse saying that he had received this from Baldwin on his videos, and most of his videos are gone now, so we can't even go back and actually see like what he said. Shelly, can you? I don't think she's talking to you, Shelly. The attorneys were asked for their laptops. I don't know what that means, Southern Sweet Tea. That is a serious question. I wonder that. Is this legible? Yeah. It is to me. Well, I mean, for as much as I know. Kathy said that did happen. Okay. Don't pick on Shelly. Yes, Mullen's sister's husband. Yes. Mullen's brother-in-law was killed, shot, and then the house was set on fire with another young lady. Okay. Here we go. So essentially, they don't have the email from Baldwin to Woodhouse. They don't have the list of what was actually sent to Woodhouse. They don't have proof that this email even went from Baldwin to Woodhouse. They don't have a date or time of when this they don't have a date or time of when this went to Woodhouse. They don't have any of it. But the problem, we know what happened. They admitted that it happened. I mean, they said, hey, wait a minute, Baldwin and Rosie, and I think Rosie ends up, when he testifies, says that he, I think that he's the one who ended up contacting the court about it, saying like, hey, this is just a mistake. It's simple. One of the things that Hennessy did, and we talked about the witness list that he had prepared before he added the social media side, was literally a list of attorneys. And not so fast. Okay, I'll slow down. Was literally a list of attorneys. And what they went up there, and what I was told, was that they were asked the same questions. All of them are asked the exact same questions. Essentially, have you ever mistakenly sent an email to the wrong person? All of them say yes. Do you have a war room? All of them say yes. Do you keep it locked, or do you, whatever? They're like, all of them are in basic agreement on that this happens. This is not uncommon. When asked about the email, they were asked like, when you accidentally email somebody, like what do you do? And they're like, we call them and say, hey, we accidentally emailed you. Please delete that. And they were like, so then Hennessy asked, like, well, do you take it to the court? Do you report it? And they're like, no. Well, it depends on, some of them are like, it depends on what the content of it was that we accidentally emailed. But essentially, all the ones that were there to testify, which I believe 3 of them testified for Hennessy, stating they all do that. Now, he had, I think it was like 8 affidavits from other attorneys that ended up being objected to and were not allowed in. The one thing I think Hennessy should have done is ask the LE witnesses whether they had ever sent a misdirected email. That would have been good. That would have been good. They would have been like, well, I'm not an attorney. Did you get timed out? It might have been an accident. I know that sometimes it happens. Cohen was definitely brought up. Cohen was brought up. Fortson was brought up. Westerman was brought up. I don't believe that really anybody outside of that was too brought up, just simply because they never really went and did like an investigation to see who all got it. Who was shot and set on fire? So his name is McCurdy, John McCurdy, like McCurdy. And he was an older gentleman. His wife / girlfriend or ex at the time was Beverly Mullen, whose brother is Steve Mullen. So it's very interesting timing. The reason we started looking at that was because we got some information that this gentleman had, and I was not able to verify this, is why I haven't really brought it out to YouTube, is that the gentleman was shown crime scene photos, and I've heard some tea about Beverly waiting in line. Yeah, that. Oh, you did? Ooh. Was shown some crime scene photos, and he contacted somebody in law enforcement to say, hey, these photos are out, and I'm concerned about how they're coming to me. Another side thing is that it's possible that he had told one of his confidants that he was checking his wife's location, and her location was around the bridge. None of this is factual. This is why I'm being very hesitant on how I put this out there, because this was all just kind of how we went in. Hi, Defense Diaries, what's up? I'm ready. I'm ready for your intel. So I don't know exactly how it is, but that's the kind of the story, and what I was doing some research on was trying to figure out if we could fact check that. But the story goes that he was shown crime scene photos. He reported it to law enforcement like, hey, these probably shouldn't be out. And then there was a gentleman with the last name of Doe, ironically, who comes and drives down from Wisconsin, shoots both him and this young lady who's staying with him. The young lady who's staying with him it's such a kind of a complicated story, is his son's best friend's wife, and they're in a fight, so she's staying at his house. Now, the theory of it is you can't find enough online about this case. It's very, very kind. I was looking all over the place. That he potentially was stalking this woman and drove down to kill her, but I don't know how he would have known that she was staying at this other guy's house. So ultimately what happens is he shoots them both, and then he sets the house on fire, and he drives to Peru. This is the whole thing. Peru, in a field, and shoots himself, apparently. Yeah. And McCurdy's son, and that's why I'm like, does everybody just have a tie to Odinism? Do they even know? Do they think he was stalking her? I did find that he had liked one of her Facebook posts, but I didn't find any other. Like I said, there's not enough to the story to say what exactly went down, but there was enough for me to go, this is interesting, and what does it actually mean? The guy from Wisconsin. Oh, shit. What's his name? Doe. Last name's Doe. I'll just look it up really quick for you. It's John McCurdy is the house fire. His last name is Doe. What was his name? Doe. So the gentleman's name was John McCurdy, and maybe somebody in chat already said it. I don't know why I cannot think of his name. This was not in my brain right now to think of their names. Her name was Anna Downham, and the guy was Daniel Doe. Here, I'll put this in chat too if you guys want it. Like I said, I was never able to do too much connecting to show any validity, but I will tell you that it was something that I was interested in, and I was kind of trying to figure out how that would work. I found it interesting that he was supposedly paying attention to where his wife was, and his wife was in that area, and then we have like these 3 random people that are now in that area at the time. I'm like, ugh. Yeah, thank you, Nancy. There you are. Thank you. I was on the other screen. I couldn't see you. Hi, Royal Wee. Well, I'm just trying to catch up on chat. The defense didn't even leak according to the evidence. Right. The story sounds about like the rest of Delphi's. Normally would say never, but I know. But in this case, who knows? So anyway, so yeah, so the as the story goes, Steve Mullen is his brother-in-law, and there's a potential that there was crime scene photos being passed around at that time. Hence why I was even looking into it. Oh gosh, I can't even keep track. I don't think I could keep track. Are any of these people related to Abby and Libby? Well, yes and no. I mean, like family relation. No, they all work together. I mean, they're that you can get a connection like within like at least 3 degrees on everybody. I don't know if that makes sense, except for this weird Daniel Doe guy. And I think that was also an intriguing part of it, is that I could not. Nobody's attacking you, Hunting Evil. Everybody just, Hunting Evil, just calm down. It's going to be okay. Just chill. Yeah, everyone in the town is related, I know. So I'm like, ugh. Okay, let me go to the next one. This is not the right one, is it? No, this is the next one. Okay, so Nick calls Holman to the stand. Holman's direct examination. Holman says that Becky Patty called McLeland and said that photos were leaked. Holman received a call from Murder Sheet that the photos were leaked. So now, essentially within a couple days, McLeland is finding out and Holman is finding out. He says the pics were something the defense created. Per Murder Sheet, Cohen sent them the pics. Murder Sheet gave Holman screenshots of Cohen and Fortson talking. This is why I was saying it's interesting that none of the people involved in any of this, nobody was there to testify. So why in the world, why wasn't any of that hearsay? I'm curious about that. Bob, are you still here? I'm very curious how these got in and how the other ones couldn't, when none of the people are there to testify on either side. Write that down for your live later, because that's a question I have. The pics were of the girls and crime scene. ISP used rectangles to censor Libby, and the defense uses circles. So he knew the defense created them because all the photos provided by Murder Sheet were circles. Okay, that's interesting. That's also very interesting that they were circles. Holman got Murder Sheet's statements, and Fortson and Cohen were talked to. Rick Snay was interviewed, and then Kyra DeBrune. He called Bob Fortson's dad, who said he'd have his son call Holman. Now, this is interesting. Why in the world would Holman call Robert Fortson's dad? Was it a mistaken identity? Maybe he thought because their first name is the same. Ooh, you're making tacos. See, it's Taco Tuesday. We're having tacos tonight, too. Yeah, just if you write that down, Defense Diaries, you can talk about it on your live, because I need to know why those were, the other ones were hearsay because Terry Williams wasn't there, but these weren't hearsay, even though Fortson, Murder Sheet, and Cohen weren't there. And they got to use these. You're having pizza, Mal? It's Taco Tuesday. You got to have tacos. BLTs, you guys are throwing everything off. How did Gold admit the screenshots were... How did Gold admit the screenshots with nobody, RF, MRC, or even MS validating them? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know how that would even work. You can do whatever you want to Sleuth Bomb, but I'm just glad you're here. Do I have to? I don't want to bring out the mom voice. Do I need to be the mom right now? I just want to talk Delphi. Please stop fighting with each other. You know how they got in. Hi, allegedly innocent. So good to see you. This has gotten so nuts I can't even figure out what happened in one hearing. Well, that's probably because there was like 3 hearings in one yesterday. So Oh shit, that's funny. Okay, let me get back down here. Just checking on chat. IB math. Bean, you're being good. It's probably Johnny. Johnny's always causing problems. I know, and that's the best. I'm just gonna go back to looking for Princess Kate. If you find her, you have to let us know. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask a side question here that has nothing to do with Delphi. I would like to know how many people think that Princess Kate is missing, and how many people are following that, because they put out some new photos. They put out some new photos of supposedly her and Prince William walking, and I'm telling you right now, that is not Kate. So just a total side little, conversation. And if you guys are, are interested in that, follow Allegedly Innocent. You should follow Allegedly Innocent anyway. But yeah, if you guys don't know, you should know for sure. Yeah, find Kate. Like 75% of the people think she's gone. Like either something happened to her and she's gone, or that she just bounced. No, but Kel, if she's just healing, then why do they keep putting out fake stuff that just say no, she's still recovering? I'm deep into the bone structure problem. Yeah, so if you guys are interested, can you guys drop Allegedly Innocent channel? She's doing great coverage on it. It's I don't even know. It's like if you're into conspiracies of things like that, I just don't know why they would even be putting all this shit out. Now there's so many Photoshop stuff. As a Welch person, we had nothing to do with it. I'm Welch and Dutch too. So anyway, who? Princess Kate. You think Willie unalived her? Maybe she just needed a break. Well, there's the whole thing that there's the comments that he might be cheating with the best friend. So make sure you guys follow Allegedly Innocent, because like I said, she's doing a great job trying to figure out what the hell's going on. The hell's going on with the royalty. All right. Okay, sorry, I had to do a little side conversation because that's also something that I've been paying attention to. I'm like, that is not her. Okay, the dogs are going to start barking. Sorry, barking. They're going to start barking. I'm now from Boston. I think she has Crohn's and does not want it public, the symptoms and gastro stuff, so people do not picture her poorly. But once again, why put out all the fake stuff then? And the same thing, why put out the fake stuff? She was with her mom, but we don't know that one's real either, because there's people who claim that's all done with AI. And the missing wedding ring. I know. Okay, we're totally getting sidetracked here, and I don't mean to do that, but it's extremely interesting if you follow anything like that. I love mysteries. I love conspiracies. I think absolutely go look. Did anybody in the courtroom yesterday see Princess Kate? Anybody? Anybody? Hello, Princess Kate, wherever you are. It was a very accurate Boston accent. I didn't even mean for it to be. It just happened. Sometimes I pull off an English one and I don't mean to either. Hold on, you guys. Okay, apparently the roofers are cleaning up, and so I'm just supposed to make sure the dogs don't bark at them. That's my job right now. Like I'm not busy or anything. Anyway, so okay, let's go back to the trial. Heard it on the X. Thank you for joining and becoming a member. Such a clusterfuck over here sometimes. I don't know why anybody wants to join. Oh, Shiraz, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Can somebody tell me what time Bob's live is starting so that I know to stop just sidetracking and doing shit that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm actually talking about? Oh, Angela, are you really? A massive Airbnb for the trial? I potentially want to go out there. But I don't know. I don't even know where there'd be an Airbnb that's so close. Unsolved crimes. So we talked a little bit about the McCurdy stuff. Just FYI. 9:30, so 6. Really? 9? He's going that late? It's funny, Mrs. You're not the first person who's actually told me that. But it's weird, though, because when I listen to Emily D. Baker, who I love, I don't feel like I sound anything like her, but people say that a lot. Holman called Fortson's dad, or he just said he did. Either way, I'm not sure which is worse, but how did that come up? I'm sorry, I missed that part. Yeah, we're going to go back. Let me go back. Let me get back on track here. You're uploading a video now on McCurdy? Unsolved? 70 minutes from now. Okay, I got plenty of time to F around then. But I don't want to find out, so everybody calm down. Sorry, just kidding. Unsolved, 8:30 your time. Okay, so 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 my time. Okay, I'll be cooking tacos then. There are Airbnbs close. Ooh. No, not on McCurdy. Okay, well, you need to do one on McCurdy. I know, I like both of those guys. Bob's pulling a Deets. Hopefully he doesn't do a 10-hour stream. Oh, shit, no kidding. I'll be dying. He did that one Friday night, too, and he kept us up all night. All right, back to this. So apparently Holman, when he starts investigating this, it decides that he's going to call Robert Fortson's dad. So either he just mistaken identity, because like I said, they do have the same first name, even though one goes by Bob and one goes by Kyle. Like, did he call his dad to tell on him, or did he call his dad by a mistake? And that's actually concerning, since he's like one of the lead investigators and has been for a while, that he can't figure out which person is which. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. And so his dad's like, okay, I'll have him give you a call. October 10th, Holman spoke with Fortson, and Fortson gave him no information. We know a little bit about this because we've seen now that Holman went there, and that Fortson asked for a lawyer multiple times, and that Holman just continued to talk to him. Now, because once he said lawyer, like, there's a lot of like, don't talk anymore, you know, and Bob or Travis or any other attorney that happens to be in here, I'm under the impression, and maybe I'm just totally wrong, that he can still make statements, which is what was kind of written in that document. It's like there's a lot of statements from Holman, not necessarily questions. So I'm wondering that, because if he's not asking him questions, he can just say whatever the hell he wants to say. I don't know. So maybe one of you guys can answer that, because I don't know. So he asked for an attorney. He says he's going to talk to his attorney, and Holman just keeps going and saying that essentially he's going to be held in contempt, and Judge Gohl gave orders to the prosecutor, and so on and so forth. So Hennessy objects here and says this is hearsay. There's no proof. Oh wait, hold on, wrong one. I missed a whole line. Holman then went to speak with Westerman, and the leak came from Westerman. Hennessy objects here to say no proof. Gohl overruled it. States Westerman was employed by the defense. He received a phone call that Fortson had committed suicide, and said it was obvious that it was self-inflicted. His wife is a mess, and she said he wished that he would have just been honest. I know we've talked about that a lot. I don't know how far I want to go into it, but it's extremely unfortunate, and he made a decision that affected a lot of other people, and it's hard to ever try to figure out why somebody gets to that point where they feel like that's their only option. Now, no proof that Westerman that the leak even came from Westerman. So as of right now, what they have been able to prove, based on screenshots that in my opinion should have been hearsay, and I'm waiting for an attorney to answer, based on screenshots that should have been considered hearsay, they have Fortson talking to Cohen and giving them to Cohen. They don't even have the information that Westerman actually gave these to Fortson. Not to say that he didn't, just to say they didn't prove it. I don't know if she's ever spoken to him again, Yellow Jacket. I get it, but I don't know if she's actually ever spoken to him again. Because remember, that's like the whole thing that Nick said in his email too, was, he just thought he'd be honest. And oh, D, I'm sorry. I know it just gets frustrating because of the back and forth sometimes, and it's just hard on them. I thank you, and I do appreciate you. Hopefully everything will go smooth sailing from now on without the other commentary. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, D. Steven, so Liggett can get elected sheriff and Carter can say today is the day. We got one innocent man put in a dungeon for 1.5 years, an honorable man dead, and a man given life who shouldn't have. Hi, Jax. They were friends. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think so. I think that's pretty apparent. I think we all kind of know that whole chain. Like I said, what I was looking for them to prove or to not prove essentially was if Baldwin was giving anything directly to Fortson, or if Baldwin was trying to tell Westerman to purposely set out to, put some of this stuff out. That's where I was at. There's no proof it came from Fortson. They don't want to prove anything at all. Right. So that's why I'm like, how did those screenshots even get in there? I need to go to bed and I don't want to. No one seems to know. I can't help but wonder if the prosecutor even knows. Maybe he thought it was filed ex parte. All right, let's go here. Didn't I already pin his comment? Did I not? Here you go. Carter said today is the day. Well, shit in his pants. I'll never understand because he did not seem like he was. He was like, I don't know. One day you'll know what I know, and someday we're all going to know all the things that we don't know now. Holman drove around with Terry Williams in the beginning talking about the crime scene, and then she bragged about it. Yeah. Yep. But that wasn't allowed in because that was considered hearsay. Okay, here we go. So on cross-examination, remember, this is Holman still. So on cross, you did a report on the leaks. Yes. Can you tell us about that? It's a lot. So question, there's no evidence that Baldwin and Rosie allowed this to be shared. No. There's no evidence that Baldwin and Rosie allowed this to be shared. No. You wanted charges on Baldwin. Yes. And you found out that wasn't viable. Yes. How many photos did Westerman leak? I don't know. I don't know. Did Fortson have other sources? I don't know. Fortson mentioned Baldwin over and over, but never Rosie. Question. Were these pics taken of the girls before law enforcement got there? Answer. The photos we have are not crime scene photos by law enforcement. Now, this is for all you guys that were actually in the hearing yesterday. This is one of the things that I need help with. But first, let's talk back about this. They could not prove how many photos Westerman took. They could not prove how many photos Westerman, quote unquote, leaked. They could not prove that Baldwin and Rosie allowed it to be shared. They could not prove that Fortson didn't have other sources outside of Westerman. Essentially, they don't know anything about the leaks except for what was in the screenshots between Fortson and Cohen. Now, here is my question for you guys that were in the hearing. Because this seems to be, I'm getting two different things here. Were these pictures taken of the girls? Was taken of the girls actually said? Search criminality Roblox. Shit, maybe there is one. It was very nice of Sleuthy to do this. Now, this is what I need to know, because searchers' photos, I'm hearing that it was said that taken of the girls, and then I'm also hearing that this part isn't there, and that it was supposedly about the clothes. And this is where I really, really want some clarification. The only other source would be Mark Cohen, and they met through Westerman. And Mark Cohen, I don't think even knew who Westerman was. And it's the same like Kyra. I don't think she knew who Westerman was. That she just knew. They just knew this guy. Of the girls was probably said. Hopefully that's said. Okay, yes, said. Of the girls was said numerous times. It was. Holy Shnikes has a question. So apparently after all of this went down, Mitch told mutual friends that Fortson had fucked him over, and this was after Fortson had passed away. And so Mitch was going around telling people that Fortson had fucked him over. Okay, now they're like blowing the freaking driveway. Freaking ridiculous timing. Let me go back up here. I don't know what the WTF is. It to the pictures, or is it to the? I hope they fucking hurry up. Or is it to what Holy Shnikes said? We got a couple of them, so I'm just trying to figure out which one we're talking about. I just want to make sure that taken of the girls before law enforcement got there is talking about the actual photos that were leaked of the girls and not the clothing pics, because I'm being told both, and I want to make sure I'm right when I respond, because obviously I wasn't there. Holman said those photos were taken before Ellie arrived, meaning the photos of the girls, though, right? I just want to make sure that that's what we're saying. They're not considered crime scene photos yet. So now the person who said that they had seen them when they were in the courtroom also said that it looked like those were the ones that actually had like yellow tape, but they couldn't be 100% sure. How about a panel with all those who were in the courtroom, all with their notes so they don't change each other's memories too much? Or cameras. Put damn cameras in there. Oh, what Westerman said. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently that's what he said. He went around telling people that his friend of many, many years fucked him over. Yeah. Photos could be from the killer. So we kind of wondered that at the beginning of this, but they don't say it. I think it is clarified that they were from the searchers, though, right? Okay, hold on. I'm going back up here. Sorry, I'm skipping over some comments. I'm just trying to find some clarification from the people I know were in there. This was all just a bunch of drama that didn't need to be brought up, but the state constantly leaking everything from day one isn't relevant. Now, who had the circles? Well, apparently the ones that Murder Sheet gave to Holman had circles. Apparently, like True Crime Steve said, he had circles. One set that I have has circles. One set that Kathy said she received had a square. So where did it get changed? I don't know, but those are the same photos. That's the only thing. It's like not a different set. So this is what I'm really trying to figure out, is this whole, they were in the military together. Yep. BH and PW. Yep. So the ones we have are the ones we have, the same ones that were shown by McClelland to the defense team. Not the same ones that Nick showed to, see, this is craziness. Yeah. That would fix everything. Just put the fucking cameras in there. I took it as the photos in the water. You took it as the photos in the water. Okay, see, that's interesting. Yeah, they deleted them off their phone, Sniper, right there, right in front of Holman. I doubt they deleted them off their iCloud. Can I summarize the issue? Okay, so my issue is, if the question is, were these pictures, okay, so let's just say Hennessy has photos in his hand, right, or a sheet of photos, and he's showing them to Holman, and he's like, you know, how many photos did Westerman leak? Now, you know what? You know, I'm not sure that the clothing would even make sense here in this line of questioning. How many photos did Westerman leak? Would Westerman have been leaking clothing photos when those photos were leaked already? I'm not sure clothing photos even make sense here now that I'm thinking about it out loud. How many photos did Westerman leak? I don't know. Did Fortson have other sources? I don't know. Fortson mentioned Baldwin over and over, but never Rosie. And then the question is, were these pics taken of the girls before law enforcement got there? And the answer is, the photos we have are not crime scene photos by law enforcement. Do you see? So the clothing pics, I don't think it actually makes sense here, because Westerman wasn't leaking anything to do with clothing pics. And if the line of questioning is about what Westerman leaked, then it has to be the photos of the girls. It has to be. So thank you guys for sitting here with me while I worked that out for the last 15 minutes in my own brain and trying to figure out what the hell I'm talking about. Because it has to be the girls, because that's the only thing that's in the line of questioning. Okay, so the circles are to cover the private area. And there's the circle underneath. The circle is the lower private area. But there's also a square on the other set. Groupthink. We did it. Yay. Okay, so it has to be of the girls. So this actually explains a lot about the photos, because they look really unprofessional, I'll tell you that. But now the question is the rumor that there was pictures of the crime scene of the girls taken by searchers before cops arrived? That's possible. All photos that are now in that the public know about were leaked after Alan was arrested. Not a crime scene before Ellie arrives. No, it's not considered a crime scene, even though, I mean, let's be serious. Like, it's a crime that took place at this place. It is a crime scene. It's just not a crime. It's not considered a crime scene yet. Not by law enforcement. It's a crime scene once they set up their perimeter of the crime scene. Once they arrive. So now this is really showing that this is potentially the searchers that took these photos. If that's the case, then that makes me, I'm still so confused. I'm so confused though on if these are not those photos. Okay, I'm gonna jump ahead for just a second, and this is just I gotta work this out in my brain, and I need your guys' help, especially you guys that were there yesterday and know what the hell I'm talking about, or anybody who knows what the hell I'm talking about. Honestly, they said that when Rosie testified, it all hurts. I know. It's like when Rosie testified, he stated that there were photos he was being shown that he had not seen before, and he did not believe that Andy had seen before either. Now, yeah, this is where I'm going with that, right? Yeah, don't chat and drive. Are we talking about the same photos, or is that completely different? I'm super confused. I know. I'm really sorry. When it gets worked out, I promise you, I'm gonna make it make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, so I'm struggling with it. Because Rosie testified that he had not seen one or two of the photos he was being shown. One of them was nude. Taking pics of a nude child is very much a crime. The answer to my question is yes. Right. Okay. So if you guys aren't familiar, Veronica has been in the chats since we've been covering Delphi, and she was from that area, and she was actually shown pictures shortly after the crime took place. And if Veronica, if I missay it, please feel free to correct me. And she was shown pictures not too long after the crime happened. So like locals were being shown crime scene photos of the girls. Now, this is interesting because it's making me think that these are the day of the crime, or the day the girls were found. Veronica said, I knew about the crime scene the day the girls were found. Oh, Gambies, thank you. Okay. Rosie said he had not seen the hand-drawn diagram in the picture of Libby with the circle. Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa. He had not seen the photo of Libby with the circle on it? I don't know him personally. I've never interacted with him. I do know of him, True Crime Fangirl. And what, from my understanding, is he had tried to get in contact with Mark to get the thumb drive index that Baldwin had sent him. I don't know. I don't think so. See, but this, just commenting, this is what happens is like, so because I obviously had the photos, or have the photos in two different sets, and I had the photos when her and I had that conversation. I didn't show them to her, but this is like, how do I know? You know what I mean? But then if you show them, like, maybe you just explain it. I don't know, because then you're just sending them out, and then it's like, Oh, okay. So that was when they had the little stare down. So Gambi's on Unraveling last night was talking about that Brad, Rosie, and Fran Gull had like a lock, like a staring contest, and Brad won. If I was a family member, I would write to the judge about the deleted interviews. Yeah. Veronica, so you knew about it or seen the pictures of the crime scene? Yeah. The day the girls were found, a church was mentioned. Germania, never heard of Odinism. Don't know, Snappy Dragon. This is all the questions. Yeah, I have no idea. It was not at all denied that the state leaked some of these photos. It just isn't relevant. This is that's just, I don't even have words. I don't even have words for what is happening right now. If these are not the photos that were in the war room that Mitch Westerman took photos of, what the fuck is going on? What? What? So he's saying he did not see Gambies. He said he did not see the picture with the circle on it. When the prosecution, or Holman, I should say, Holman is saying that the whole reason he knew that it was from then is because it had a circle on it. I've been saying this the entire time. They've been going off of Nick saying what the photos were and hadn't seen the photos. Yeah, he doesn't know how many photos did Westerman leak. I don't know. I don't know. What were the photos? No idea. All they have essentially is the text messages between Fortson and Cohen. Now, I'm thinking logically it makes sense, right? The Westerman admits that he went and took these photos and that he sent them to Fortson and then Fortson sent them to Cohen and to Kyra. I mean, that all makes, logically, that makes sense. So this is really throwing off the whole process of why would the defense be using these photos for depositions if they're not the actual crime scene photos? Does that make me think, I'm asking you guys what I think, does that make me think that the crime scene photos then don't show the same sticks and things and they had no choice but to use these photos because that's the ones that the sticks were actually photographed in? I don't know. Now my head is going all over. I got to just backtrack. I got to, pew, got it into notes. Locals had the photos. That was what we were told when this whole thing was going down before these actually came out. And we were talking about like other people saying that these photos were going to be coming out of the girls, which was in 2023, January 2023, was that searchers had taken photos while they were calling in law enforcement. And so like either Erskine, Ello, Amy, or one of the very first ones, Pat Brown, Michelle, I don't know who, but one of them supposedly took photos in order to show law enforcement the scene as they arrived upon it in case anything changed. I don't know. Hennessy asked him to describe the pictures that he did not show to Holman. Okay, hold on. Hennessy asked him to describe the pictures that he did not show to Holman during deposition, and he said he didn't want to describe them, but then he did, and I wrote down the description. That's what you got into notes? Did you talk about that last night? I don't remember you saying that part. Important to know, Veronica stating it was not shown to be disrespectful. People were scared of what it meant. I understand that. I know these photos are killing me. I thought we had it all figured out. Now I'm like, what the fuck? Are these not the same damn photos? Westerman had no reason to do what he did unless he was contacted and promised something. Well, I do think that there is something to the fact that for whatever reason we like to like be in the know. Like I know things that you don't know, and I think that happens a lot in true crime. And I think it gets to people's heads, and then I think that we end up in the position that we're now in when it came to having social media people in court, because like they're testifying against people who are saying, I know information. Terry Williams, I know things that you don't know because I rode around with Holman. Seeing the photos will haunt you. The description was a handwritten diagram. Okay. All right, let me go back up. Yeah, it was verified that the searchers took the pictures of the clothing in the creek. True. He wasn't shown those two photos. Rosie said as much. The description was handwritten diagram. Okay, and the picture with Libby with the circle on it. And that's what Holman said that he was shown in the deposition. Terry Williams is with Ken. Libertarian. I'm sorry, did I miss it? I was trying to figure out this freaking thing. If they were searchers' photos, how can they ever prove the defense even leaked anything? This is kind of where I'm at. I don't. Is that what they're trying to do here? Is to say, hey, you don't. Did Fortson get these photos from somebody else? Because I think all they could prove, as of yesterday anyway, was that Fortson had given them to Cohen and to Kyra. But they're saying, did Fortson get them from somewhere else? Which doesn't make sense logically. If that's the case, why Westerman would be like, hey, Andy, I got to tell you, I effed up and took some photos that I wasn't supposed to. Why the hell would he do that? But here's the mass confusion, and then you don't have any fucking idea what the truth is. Rosie said, handwritten diagram. I quoted it. Okay. And the picture with the so the handwritten diagram, I believe I know what that is. I believe that's like a drawing. That was a drawing of the sticks that was sent back and forth. I think that's what that is. Now, so I'm more curious about Baldwin, not Baldwin, God damn it, Rosie saying that he never saw the pic of Libby with a circle. Because Holman said that the circle proved it was from the defense. But Rosie hadn't seen a circle pic yet. Thank you, just commenting. I feel like I'm all stuck in my brain now. I don't want to add to the confusion. Veronica, it's okay. I totally brought you into it. I'm like, get into chaos with me. Come on. It's fun over here. I really appreciate it. Now it makes so much more sense. And you're probably not saying you're welcome to me. I don't even know if I said thank you, but thank you. But I remember. Mrs. says she remembers too. And this is about the locals seeing them. All right. Just trying to get what was described yesterday in court doesn't appear to be what was shown in the early days. No one has the photos from 2017. It wasn't something they wanted to keep. Ooh. Okay. That's also interesting. Did they discuss the photo with the mouse pointer on it? That's why I said we don't know exactly like how much of this was changed throughout the sharing of the pictures amongst each other. So who spread the circle pic? Well, the circle pic. Okay, so here's the thing. In Rick Snay's post where he's clarifying that he got a rectangle on top and a circle on the bottom, he said that he talked with Kyra and that's how she remembers it too. Now, if in the hearing yesterday, they're discussing in testimony the conversation between Cohen and Fortson. They're discussing that it is also a circle. So that makes me wonder, where did the square come from? Did somebody who received the photos down the chain after Cohen and Kyra, did they change it to a square? Or did somebody else put out other photos that happen to be the same photos? That doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm thinking somebody had to have just changed the stuff along the lines. Yeah, we live here now. That's where we live. Dog's like, I can't handle this either. No. The mouse cursor is on the photo of Abby's head. All the pics will come out of trial. Enough distractions from the prosecution. Let this man have a fair trial. I know, I'm ready to do it. Let's go. He said that how he knew was those had circles and Ellie had rectangles. But now I'm like super confused on the circle, because Rosie's saying he never saw the circle. I don't know. Maybe it's all just a waste of time anyway. Maybe I'm just like, oh my God, I think I figured out what happened. You want to come up and explain it? And then all hell broke loose. But I do think that they were already paying attention. I think law enforcement was already paying attention because Fortson was on Reddit spitting some things that not some Reddit person should know. So they were looking to figure out where the heck that information was coming from. So I think they were already on to Fortson, and I think they already knew Fortson was friends with Westerman. And I think that F-Tree, and then once the body photos were out, I think it was just crazy. We haven't even gotten to the other part of the testimony. We gotta get through it. Okay, part 1. Someone with ISP leaked. Becky saw it and called McClelland. Part 2. To cover it up, they had to edit it with a circle because ours only have rectangles. Was close with. Okay, so now we're back to McCurdy here. Family members posted that this all made no sense and they wish they had answers. Plus, they were told only way body could be transferred was if cremated. Yes. Okay. Had it not gotten to Becky for her to call in, MS would have never called in to report the leak after it was already reported to Nick. I want to know who told Becky Patty about the leaks before anyone went public. That is a huge question for me. Did that get an answer? Probably not, if I had to guess, but somebody that was in court can say that. It's not on anybody's notes that I've seen. Okay. So Holman claimed that Turco's report was leaked by Fortson. And then that's it. I don't know how we got there, but okay. Barb McDonald had Turco's report. That's the Purdue report that was talked about, that Barbara McDonald had when she was sitting on court TV. So Holman says, I didn't investigate that. Sleuthy, do I have another one yet? Haha. Perfect. You're so good. Let me grab these next ones. I see, look at me. I'm like, I have all the time in the world before Bob goes live. I'll just talk about whatever the hell I want. Oh, shit. I ran out of time. Oh, it's my life. Okay. Here's the third. And then here's the fourth. Okay. Okay, so here's page 3. So now Rector is on the stand. He had a conversation with Woodhouse and gave his findings to Holman. obtained on October 9th, 2023, a screenshot from Westerman's device of Westerman saying he went to Baldwin's office and told him he took the photos. Westerman's device is locked. Trying to get into it. They cannot get into Westerman's device, and he's obviously not going to give it up because now they're charging him, so I don't know how that's going to work. Around 2 years possible, not sure what this means. It will take about 2 years to get warrants and everything for Westerman's device. Got a search warrant for Westerman's iCloud account and got info and got 500 gigabytes of data from Westerman's devices, including his personal photos. Okay, so that's Rector's involvement here. So Rector on cross-examination. Many screenshots on Westerman's iCloud account were about Andy. So Hennessy asked him, "Are there any dates on any of these photos?" And Rector says no dates on the screenshots except for one that said 9/17, but no year. Okay, so in the iCloud, so that means Westerman is taking photos of his conversation. Westerman is taking photos of his conversation with Andy, and they're finding those conversations in Westerman's iCloud. This is not an actual download of his phone. So once again, we're on screenshots. We're talking about screenshots that were found on the iCloud. We said an entire contempt hearing based on screenshots. That's like, no wonder social media people are involved. That's what we do. We take screenshots and then we're like, hey, these are real. Rector redirect. So Fortson Facebook. Oh, so now we're at Fortson's Facebook account retrieved from Facebook, but the messages were not in his account. Ooh. Fortson's Facebook account was retrieved from Facebook, but the messages were not in his account. Okay. So on recross. So none of the screenshots of convos are between Westerman and, whoa, wait a minute. Many screenshots on Westerman's cloud account about Andy. Wait, so the Westerman is talking to somebody about Andrew Baldwin and then screenshotting that? So none of the screenshots of the conversations are even between Westerman and Baldwin? Oh, wait, what the fudge? That's what the note said. This is, no, well, Gambies is right there with you. Yeah, that, what? Wait, so Westerman has screenshots of talking to somebody, we don't know who, and having conversations about Andrew Baldwin, but the conversations are not between Baldwin and Westerman. Okay, and then Hennessy's done there. This is the craziest shit ever. Okay, so then we have, this is when all the attorneys come in. So like I was saying, they essentially are asked a lot of the same questions anyway. So this is John Boren testifies that the jury prep is good to have other non-lawyers to work with for brainstorming. The question, would you have info lying out on tables while doing this wherever you had this? Answer, oh yes, laid out all the time. Question, have you ever sent a misdirected email? Oh yes, several times. I would call or send a message not to open the email. Cross-examination by McClelland. Have you ever been gag ordered? Answer, no, I haven't had to do that. I've gotten other things, but not gagged, and it can't be tailored any way the judge sees fit. Question, what would you do if you had a protective order on a case? Answer, I've not violated one in my time. We've never had a problem with trust. We always had photos and papers laying around, and we didn't lock the doors in our office. Question, did you lock your doors in your office? No, you already said that. Are those SMS messages? Why not subpoena that data? Get only the stuff saved on the cloud. Because they can't. They said it's going to take up to 2 years to get access to subpoenas for his other accounts. Well, yeah, I mean, Westerman, I don't know. Westerman's wife filed for divorce after all this because remember Rosie like calls out the fact that he was in town to visit his girlfriend. And then his wife's like, "You were doing what?" And then she bounces. Oh man. This is crazy. Okay. So, did you lock your doors? No. And then this is probably, nope, not the same thing. Let me go to the last one here. Gosh darn it. Okay. This is one of the other attorneys. Like I said, I think that these go pretty consistently through the exact same thing. Okay, so testimony, direct examination. So remember, these are the witnesses for Hennessy. Sessions on brainstorming, yes, for years. Brainstorm with others, yes. Sent misdirected email, yes. Received misdirected email, yes. I would contact them immediately and tell them to delete it. Question: would you call the FBI or the judge? No, I would not. McClelland's cross-examination. Ever had a gag order case? Yes. If you violate a gag order, do you notify the court? Yes. Protection order, there's no way to brainstorm and not be in contempt. That's actually kind of a funny answer. Okay. And then the last attorney question. Do you have a war room? Answer: conference room with a spread of the case. We use 2 conference rooms and spread it all out. Question: ever received or sent a misdirected email? Answer: many. I send it back or call and say that doesn't belong to me or I sent to you by mistake. Question: do people pass by your war rooms? Answer: yes. And I trust my people. On cross, but under a gag order? Yes. If you send an email by accident? Objection: Hennessy email not part of gag order. Sustained. If McClelland, if I I thought that said something completely bad. If I misclicked, as I have about 5,000 contacts, I would notify the prosecutor, not the judge. Yeah, you can't go to sleep yet. You can't go to sleep yet. Okay. So I think is that all we've got? Is that all we've got transcribed so far? Oh, Lauren, let me go check. Thank you. Sorry, I wasn't even looking at the chat. So let me go back up. Who's Annie? Who's Annie? When is Westerman's trial? You shit if I could remember. It's gotten pushed back. I want to say June. Yeah. Here we go. So Lauren said he and Baldwin had never seen them. So McClelland picked up the photos from his desk and walked them over to Baldwin, and many of us saw them. They were actual crime scene photos with yellow tape. They were actual crime scene photos with yellow tape. Hold the F on here. So that is the case. No wonder that the other person was like, no, they were very colorful, like they had yellow and stuff all over them. And crime scene, it looked like they had crime scene tape, and it looked like it had crime scene like markers. This is so crazy. Like, what are these? I don't even know. I'm so confused on the photos at this point. They were different than the leaked ones. Okay, so were they trying to say that the photos with the crime scene tape, Nancy's agreeing with you because she said she saw that too. The photos with the crime scene tape that McClelland showed to the defense team, were they claiming at any point that those were the leaked photos? Are they saying that the ones that McClelland was showing were the leaked photos? He didn't show picture 3 and 4 to Holman at the deposition. But we don't know what picture 3 and 4 is. Do we know what that's the drawing? That's the drawing one, and that's the circle one, right, Gambies? This is a total clusterfuck. Couldn't agree more. Why would he just carry him around? Yeah, I know. No, because he brought them over to Rosie on the stand. Yes, it's criminality187 at Gmail. Criminality187 at Gmail. Gmail. I don't even know how to say it anymore. And Rosie said he hadn't seen them, and neither had Baldwin. Wait. So the ones with the crime scene pictures. No, hold on. This is getting more confusing. So the ones with the crime scene tape that McClelland had. Maybe I'm just like in such disbelief, and this is why I can't wrap my mind around it, because I'm telling you right now that there's like 5 people in the chat that were there yesterday, and they're like, yes, Teresa, yes. And I'm like, no, it can't be. And they're like, no, but it is. And I'm like, no, it isn't. It can't be. But he is. Oh, shit. But he's saying that those are the ones that they were shown in the depositions. I don't even know anymore. Let me see. This whole thing is so sus at this point. He had like 5 pages stapled together with pictures. Thank you, Marcel. I don't even know what I'm doing except for probably confusing the shit out of 600 people at this moment because I'm so confused. But apparently I'm not. I'm having a hard time believing what I'm hearing. Not that I don't believe you guys. I'm just having a hard time wrapping my mind around it. They were the exhibits from the memo. There's something hinky with this whole picture thing. I thought I had figured, like, I was good. I was like at peace with it. Like the way that it had all gone down. And now I'm just like, no. Okay, so let's go. We'll go to the handwritten notes. I don't think that Sleuthy's Apple Pen's probably like, stop using me so much. But I want to figure out. Let me see. Like the note here is like, ask Bob Motta. I am. Well, I'll probably have to do the motion to dismiss. I'll do the motion to dismiss tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning, with the response from the defense team that came out today. We'll do that in the morning, because I think we'll get through the contempt. Because the motion to dismiss, we're gonna be talking about that. That one's gonna take a while because there's so much stuff with the click stuff, and then plus maybe we get some clarification on this when Bob goes live. I don't even know it's clarification. Maybe I'll probably be like, I still don't fucking get it. I don't even know anymore. I don't understand what pictures we even saw and whose pictures they were and where the hell they came from. So I just want to finish the contempt part, but now I'm like, I don't even know where I was on here. I'm so sorry that I spent so much time confusing you all. I didn't mean to. I really didn't. I'm just trying to wrap my own brain around it. This is contempt hearing. Okay. Bench notes, types of no objection. That's blah blah. From the state was delayed. Original police report did not have. Mullins reported Woodhouse. Okay, that's the Woodhouse stuff. Screenshots from others. Let's see. Thank you, special judge. The gag order was not enough for contempt. Okay, we did that. Wait, are these not coming up in order? Is that what's going on here? Because this isn't right. Son of a bitch. Then. Okay. Maybe we'll just have to wait and finish it with the other one, because now I'm like, I don't even know what the hell page I was on. We're confused too. The circle talking sometimes helps. You gotta work it all out that way. Now you guys see why I can't accomplish anything in life. People are like, you don't get back to me in time. I'm like, well, that's because my brain is in overdrive. Well, everything is a fucking leak in this case because Fran and Nick keep everything a secret. Okay, so I think that all that was left, and like I said, I can't find the notes, but somebody will tell me if I'm wrong. I think all that was left was, we kind of already touched on it anyway. So they have Julie come up after lunch, and that was about the Terry Williams stuff, and it pretty much gets shut down because Terry Williams isn't there to testify about the conversation, or to validate the screenshots, which is still weird to me. Then Skip comes up, and Skip has the conversation, or is asked about Fig, and in that questioning, it's that Fig had told him and others that he was getting information from McClelland and apparently somebody who worked for Judge Gohl at one point. Hold on, I'm just checking what you guys are saying. Thank you for asking all the questions about the picture. I think it's a lot that's not right about the leak and the contempt motion. Yeah, it's definitely not sitting very good. And thank you very much for the super chat. I know the hammer stopped. I haven't accomplished anything in 3 days. I'm coming in late, but who took the notes? Multiple people took notes that we were going over, and Sleuthy is being kind enough to put them all together into a single document so that it makes more sense. So she is working on that currently. So I sent her everything that I had and that I had been given from the nice people who went yesterday and shared it with me. So she's putting it all together for us to actually understand what the hell we're looking at. But I just want to go through it real quick. So then, so Skip was up there, and then I think the last one to testify, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, was Rosie. Fig was not there, no. Because the person that worked for Judge Gohl was right smack in the middle of the room. Was she there? She was there, huh? I think that the person that many think it is actually like one of the court reporters for Judge Gohl. But I haven't been able to confirm that. Rosie, yep. So Rosie's the last one to go up there, and we kind of already talked about what was asked about him about the pictures and so on and so forth, and he didn't know anything about the pictures. He said he's the one who contacted the prosecutor judge about the email thing when he found out about it. And when McClelland goes up to question him, he's like, essentially, like, you know, we were in chambers and you wanted a gag order, and this sticks out to me because apparently Rosie was like, like, you're the one that wanted the gag order. Like, I remember you wanting to push the gag order, but once again, it should be irrelevant because there was no gag order in place. Yeah, so just to clarify, no one has confirmed that that girl is the one that did it. But that is, she joined some Facebook groups right around the time of the leaks. It's very interesting. There's some shady stuff. But we don't know that she's actually the one that did it. We don't even know if he was telling the truth when he told Skip that. It's hard work covering up corruption when a big crime has occurred. It's a juggling act. But this is like the key to misdirection, is to make everybody not know what the hell's going on, so then nobody knows the truth. And then if somebody who does know the truth, just completely discredit them so that nobody will ever believe them. And that said person that is potentially the person who worked for Goal that was in contact with Fig, like we said, we do not know that to be fact. But we do know that she completely deleted her social media presence. You don't say. Okay, so that wraps up the contempt hearing. We know from yesterday that she had said that Hennessy has 1 week to do essentially a final legal memo. And then she gave Nick 1 week after that to respond to Hennessy. And then she's going to take 30 days to make the decision on the contempt. So that essentially that puts us about 13 days before trial's set to go. Yes. Mrs., thank you for the super chat. Did you? I don't know if I said thank you. I saw it pop up. The super sticker. Thank you so much. Yeah, we don't need to worry about who leaked them. We need to worry about who they originated from, for fuck's sake. I agree with you. Worry about who. Oh, you did 2 of them. Thank you, because I was so busy in my own brain I didn't even pay attention. Who leaked the photos, then who actually took the photos, if they were photos that were not taken by LE. Yeah, that's like where I'm at now. Like, what the fuck? Hopefully we figure it out. If not, I don't know. Anyway, so that wraps up the contempt. I'm going to wrap up here with you guys. I am going to, let me go here and I can reroute directly to Bob, so you won't even have to push any buttons, which is amazing. And I will see you guys over there. I am going to go cook some tacos. Ironic. Wait a minute. Bob was watching me while he was cooking tacos. And then I'm going to go watch Bob while I cook tacos. What? That's just crazy talk. Why is it not wanting to show up? Here we go. Save. So when we wrap this one up, it'll take you guys straight over to Bob's if you want to join us over there, and then he will go through his notes, and then everybody take notes of Bob's notes so that we can give them to Sleuthy so that she can add them to the other notes. Oh, shit. Thank you, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me through, I don't even know what we did, but somehow we ended up here. I think we accomplished something. We went through the contempt hearing and all the other motions. I'll be back in the morning. We'll go over the motion to dismiss and talk about all the fun things about Todd. Fun things. That's not the right terminology. All the interesting things that Todd Click testified to, and the fact that Amber Holder was there. And then we will read the defense's motion from today, their response to McClelland, and anything else new that happens to pop up. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing, sweet dude. Just free balling. Free ball. What time tomorrow? We'll try to do early. I'll try to do between 9 and 10 my time, which is Pacific. So which would be about noon or 1 Eastern. And if you guys have figured out Who took the fucking photos? Let me know at the end of this. I don't even know. I have no clue. All right. I'll see you guys on the flip side. I appreciate everybody being here and hanging out with me. I know you have 1,000 other places that you guys could hang out, and I don't even know why you choose to hang out here with me, but you do, and I very much appreciate it. I'll see you guys later.